Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así. Mueve, muevo, mueve.
Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hop, hop, jump, skip up on the floor. If they didn't know, then we gon' let them know. Drop low, giving them a show. We gon' give them something that they never seen before. Hop, scotch, 784. Bouncing on the beat while keeping the flow. Stop, watch, freeze and go. Cock-a-doodle-doo is what you eating off the floor. Pop, lock, do it by yourself. You know you the best, you don't need nobody else. Rock, hip, toast to success. You was born a winner, so you never nothing less. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Para ti.
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle,
¿Te gusta
wiggle,
cuando
wiggle.
me muevo así?
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle. When we come through, make you move just a little. Clap, clap, snap, do it from the hip. You can do this whether you stand or sit. Pump, fist, do it with your wrist. Pump it back and forth like you tryna catch a fish. Hip, twist, do a finger kiss. Rocking back and forth as you make your body shift. Top, tick, do it like you sick. 2 + 4 is 6 and that's arithmetic. Top, 6, we gon' let it rip. We got your attention and we not gon' let it slip. So hands up, move your head and know what's up. Now it's shoulders rolling while you showing them your stuff. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Hey, you, we up in the place. We up in the place. We up in the place. Hey, you, make your body shake. Make your body shake. Make your body shake. Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle,
Dime
wiggle,
qué tú
wiggle.
quieres, papi.
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, wiggle,
¿Quieres
wiggle,
que lo
wiggle.
mueva para ti?
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle,
¿Te
wiggle,
gusta
wiggle.
cuando me muevo así?
Bow, bow, rock, rock, shake, shake, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Make you move just a little, 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 just a little.
Dime qué tú quieres, papi.
Yeah, this is what it is. It's what it is. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. I done played the block and it's time to stop. Pop the block, then drop the top. Bunny how to say fuck, got shake, keep it hot up on my block. Keep a knot up in my pocket. You know the G and it can't be stopped. Flip the script with serving dip. Keep the heat on Silent Hill. You know when I know that feel water just so cold. Riding on foes, slamming wood dough. Sipping on drink, fucking these hoes. Riding on bowls, push kilos. Me and my boys ball out of control. Got so much ice you can balance Super Bowl. Me, Lil G, I can't be hoe. Look at my mouth, see number gold. Fucking with a knife, we'll make you fold. Look at my room, see number polo. Step in the bed and in the studio. Over your nose, the smell of smoke. Over your mouth, it's start to blow. Now you know we got that dope. Me and my boys ball out of control. We keyed up and G'd up. We should've lost straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Lost things going big, I'm fucked up. Nigga, we keyed up and G'd up. Once you lost straight speed up. We should've decided to pull my heat up. Lost things going back, I'm fucked up. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, see, I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, see, I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, see, I don't wanna tussle.
Hitting niggas in they fucking head with a crack. Bustin', I'm bustin' back with a gap that spits venom. You sitting black. And when the bottom of the knife and it's smack, he bleeds.
The cat's waxing him back.
Cause he ain't suffered enough, hustled enough, scuffling cuff his hand to a cop, nothing discussed, cutting his nuts to his cock. Something to shock a spark out your heart when you stop jogging in the park. And you meet a nigga dog that fight for blood spilling on the sidewalk. Staying in the light is smart despite staying on course, of course, cause the smell of death escaping out of corpse is rough. Top half man and I be damned if they bottom half horse. Hush, lost souls rushing to touch the black hole, wishing to be dust gagging and fuss, cause the demon face leaking pus.
All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. All talent on trapping and rapping and moving muscle. If it ain't about the hustle, then I don't wanna tussle. Trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. Out trapping and rapping ain't about the hustle. I don't wanna tussle. Out.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How you feel? You feel good? You feel good? That's what it's all about. It's all about how you feel. How y'all feel today? You feel good? Man, give me a 7 in the chat if you feel good. Anyways, today. You know, it's been a while, right? It's been a while. It always feels like it's been a while since I've done a show on Sunday. I guess you should just exit out and try again or something. I don't know why it's doing that. I sent another link to you, bro. Yeah. Anyways, today, heavy show. So warning to those out there. Now, some of the information to you guys who really study this stuff, you know, you're going to have heard before. But there's plenty of nuggets here because there's stuff here that I hadn't heard before. Also, you know, some things. Oh yeah, I wanted to go to the thing. Let's read the let's read what today's show is going to be about. So, the name of the name of the program today is Simba. Remember. And then in parentheses I have the violence of forgetting. I was watching a video today and it was Karen Hunter's show and Dr. Carr. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but that's really what inspired me to do the show about what the show is about today, because it was a 2-hour video for y'all. I think I got a clip for it, a clip of it for y'all. So it's 2 hours and it had me going. And also it's really academic, so it's kind of hard to follow. I mean, because the guy, he's got like a stack of books behind him, like literally a fucking library all around him. He be grabbing books while he's talking. And it's like, he's an academic, so he jumps all over the place. Like some of the stuff he's talking about, you really kind of have to know some stuff already to know what the hell he's talking about. So that's another reason why I can't really play that much of that video, because it's really dense like that. But I got a clip from it. So, but that's what inspired the video for today. But he made me think of the movie The Lion King when I was watching the video. So that's the inspiration.
Why is that?
I'm gonna explain. Okay. So the what I put under the thing is called the violence of forgetting. This is not amnesia. This is being forced to forget or extraction of history. Today we will talk about history, how it is manipulated, and purposely forgotten to benefit the powers of today. We will make connections to the present. I'll also I'm also going to talk about the Charlottesville killing, a pedestrian with a car, which is an action that has been decriminalized, and the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, where the judge says people he killed were not victims. So I hope we get to the. That's why I was trying to decide if I wanted to go into the Charlottesville and Kyle Rittenhouse stuff first, because I don't know if we're gonna make it to that because the other stuff is heavy. But we definitely finna start with
You know, I went grocery shopping in Charlottesville last weekend,
yeah.
and man, I got the most stares ever. Like I think I might have been the only black person in the town. I don't know. Like I definitely was the only black person in that Kroger, but I mean that was the closest place I can go and get me some groceries for my truck. You know.
And with my job sent me to Beaumont one time, and they put me in a hotel room, and I was bored as fuck. So I wanted to go buy a DVD player or something, because in the room that they had, it didn't play. It was trash. I didn't want to watch that. So I went and GPS Walmart. It took me to Viter. It's right there outside of Beaumont.
I know exactly where Viter is.
And so that's where, because they didn't have no apparently I don't have a Walmart in Beaumont, I guess. I don't know. That's the closest Walmart was that one in Viter. So I went there to buy my DVD, and I was walking around, and I'm dressed nice. I got on shirt and tie. I probably got a suit on or something. I don't know. I'm dressed very nice. Yeah. And they walking around looking at me because the only other like people of color, like blacks or Hispanics, that was in the Walmart were people that look like they got off of work and shit. Like people that look like they work construction and shit like that.
Well, I mean, all of our listeners may not really know. You know, you're saying Viter, Viter, I know Viter.
Viter, Texas, yeah, right outside of Beaumont. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, what's significant?
The history of it. Well, there was a thing that happened with a guy. He was drugged. Viter became famous behind of a killing of a black man. They drug him by their car basically until all his limbs came off. Really brutal killing. So that's the reason why. But they're known for being racist there. It's a little small town. But that particular killing was so gruesome that it made like national world. I think it went worldwide. It was really big. So people are known. The Viter is known for that. So yeah. So when I went into that Walmart, the people was kind of looking at me. And because I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't even know. I really didn't know. I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? The Walmart, the GPS said the Walmart is here. That's where the fuck I went. You know how I am. I don't give a fuck.
I'm the same way. But, I was just saying, like, I mean, just to kind of give a little more insight, like, this is like for Southeast Texas, that's like one of the, like, I can't say well known, but like for a lot of people, they was considered that like a sundown town for black people. Like when sun go down,
right? You don't want to have a flat. You don't want to get a flat over there if you're a black or a Hispanic person. And like it's nighttime. It's time to go. You can be there in the daytime, but you better be driving through there at nighttime. Basically, like unwritten rule.
Yeah,
that's not where you want to get a flat or your car break down. Because, anyways, so the Lion King. Y'all see my lion in the background? That motherfucker is sick.
Man, he huge, man. Say, man, there's some. I don't know. I saw something. I was watching something, man, and it was like lions just walking through. I don't know if it was this was the zoo, and the lion got loose, but that mug was walking by cars and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah, I saw that clip.
That lion was damn near bigger than some of those cars, man.
Yeah, it was just standing up, looking at the people in their eye. While they sitting in the car,
like, hey, good day. You too,
Just having a stroll, enjoying the weather.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is why, and I ain't gonna lie, the movie The Lion King, it has a couple of parts in it that bring me to tears. Like for real, like literally every time I watch it. And let me tell you a little short story. Y'all remember when they came out with the new Lion King? It was 3D or whatever the hell, the realistic. They remade it, the remade version. You don't remember that? It was a big deal a few years back. Anyways, I was like, man, because I love the Lion King. This is an excuse. And I took my daughter to go see the Lion King. She was falling asleep in the movie. I asked her about it at the end. She was like, I didn't really like it. I just didn't like it. And it hurt my heart. I was like, how the hell you not like the Lion King? And you my child. I was hurt. She didn't like it. Whatever. Different strokes for different folks. The Lion King hit my ass hard as fuck. So what I'm saying is there's a few parts in the movie that make me cry, literally. And I'm finna play one of those parts. And hopefully I can make it through it without tearing. So.
Uh-oh. Let me grab me some tissue just in case.
Yeah.
Roll the beautiful being footage.
Hold on. I got to share screen. I forgot. I'm nervous. I ain't gonna lie because I really might shed a tear on this shit.
Yeah, well, I don't know. My I'm still recovering from my my cold and stuff, so I grab some.
All right. Yeah, check it out.
Look down
Oh, fucking lighter. Fuck.
That's not my father. It's just my reflection.
No.
You see, he lives in you. Father?
Simba, you have forgotten me.
No. How could I?
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are.
No, please. Father! Don't leave me.
So basically, the state of Black people, we don't have no history. You know what I mean? We don't know where we came from. What I mean is they stole my name. You know what I mean? I don't know the real name of my family. I don't know my real tribe. You understand? Like in this clip, he's like, you've forgotten who you are, but I'm in you. I am you. And he's like, remember, and I feel like that's the struggle. And that's the reason why I study what I study. I study history. I study anthropology. I'm looking for myself. I'm trying to find my tribe. Who am I? Really? You understand what I'm saying?
I feel you.
And that's the reason why it get me, is because it feel like something has been taken from me. And reparations, that could never give it. How can you give that back? Like, the information is lost. How can you even find it? It may be lost to time.
I don't know how lost it really is. Um, Based on what I understand is that the Mormons purchased about a bunch of our history. Like they have it sealed up somewhere. Like they have it in. They have it like it's there, but and then they're like slowly releasing different things. Like I think they sold some information to one of those sites that you can go and kind of find some things, because they started coming out with some of the information that belongs to the freedmen. Some of those people that were, during the time of Lincoln, and now I mean it doesn't really change the whole thing because I mean it shouldn't have have trouble finding any of
And
our
my dad
information.
died. My dad died when I was 22 years old, so I never got to pick his brain. I wasn't developed enough to be able to ask the right questions. If you get what I mean,
No,
you
I
know what I'm
understand
saying?
fully. I wish I was older when my great grandmother was still alive. My grandma Della, like when I think back, because she was, when I was young, she was still alive. I think she died like in the 80s, like forget was it 82, 84, somewhere around there. But I was young, and but just not like when I think back about her, like you could just see there was so much like wisdom and so much, like she held a lot of knowledge that, you know, maybe some, like some of my aunts might know some stuff, but like now, like if like how they ask the question, like if you go back in time, like who would you want to have dinner with or sit with and ask questions, like she's one of those people that I would definitely want to be able to talk to and get information because like she was like she was one that was like really like an Indian, like she was or considered quote unquote what you know we say was an Indian, but it's it's a lot of things that I can't get back, just like what you're saying, it's a lot of information that's this there somewhere because I'm gonna tell you, like I really want to take off some time and go to there's the Louisiana Archive building that they have, it's actually on the same road where my mom lives. It's on Essen Lane in Baton Rouge, but I really want to go, like be able to spend a couple of weeks, like if I can go in there when shoot after they open, right after they open, and maybe stay, like spend like a job, 8 hours, 10 hours, however long I can stay per day for a
Hell
couple of
yeah.
weeks, to just be able to go in and try to connect as many dots as I can.
Yeah. Damn, I was gonna say something and I forgot it. It's anyways. Let's make go into this, and I'll probably be able to clear my head because it's kind of lighter.
Cycle, and certainly not amongst kids. So when I was little, it wasn't a big deal. I was in like sixth grade or something when 9/11 happened. And then all of a sudden, anyone and everyone who was Muslim or associated with being Muslim or just from anywhere in the Middle East was good enough. You were catching the fire from people where you almost felt embarrassed about it because there was nothing you were going to say that was going to change their mind because they've been told things by their parents and they've heard things in the media, and we're all kids, so you can't be explained of it. So to wrap that up, when I was little, I was embarrassed of where I came from in the sense that it was hard for me to explain to people, no, like this is not how my family is. We're not even Muslim in the first place, at all. But even if we were, there's nothing wrong with that. there's people on certain in my dad and mom sides of the family who are Muslim, who practice, and they live beautiful, fulfilling, and amazingly righteous lives where they do everything to help people and they do nothing to harm anyone. So even if they were Muslim, no big deal there. But like, just to try and figure out my place was tough for me when I was little. But that's how I grew up. But now it's swung all the way around to where I'm super proud of it, and not in the way that I wave a flag around or have one tattooed on my arm, but it's part of me, because all those traditions that came from Iran, my parents brought them here, and now I recognize the way that they raised me, the foods that we ate, even them teaching me the language. All these things, they've contributed to who I am, for the better or for the worse, but I think it's all for the better. I love everything about it, and so I hope that everyone could experience some level of that.
Iran has a.
There's a few more clips in that one, but I'm probably not going to play. But you get what he was saying, though, like, right? It's the reason why I played that clip. Yeah.
Yeah, he
All the
looks
clips-
kind of young. Like is he talking about like after 9/11?
Yep, that's exactly what he was talking about. He was a kid when that happened, or he was a little kid.
Yeah, that's I'm sure that has to be kind of tough, because I mean, you know, people coming from all over different places. I mean, shit. Just think about what kind of stuff might be happening with some of these Afghans that's coming in now.
Odinga. In other words, no,
Uh-oh.
dirty laundry.
Odinga. Yeah, the Afghans. Do you watch the show?
I don't watch the show. I know about him because I used to, like he does commentary on Roland Martin, and I used to watch that. And but I mean, one of the things that I notice a lot about him is that, and, it seems to be pretty common with some of our popular scholars that's goes around, because I'm sure they know a bunch of the history, but like they purposely omit certain things. Like if they discuss certain things, they should be able to tie it in with other things that would be very vital, like really important things for, shoot, even adults, but like for really anyone that that wants to learn things about history. They don't seem to connect all the dots, as far as I'm concerned, and I lose the respect from people that don't really.
You can't. It's impossible to do that. You're gonna always leave people unsatisfied. Check it.
If your drawers is dirty, the world must see. Why? Because we can't trust y'all. First of all, you brought us over here, stuffed this language in our mouths, and we were able to manage still to put our language in it. And then you worked the shadow of us for years to build your wealth. Then you figured out it was unsustainable, so you let us go, but you wanted to keep us in the same jobs we were doing before, just not as slaves, because now you're embarrassed. So in that little crap called Reconstruction, we tried to build a whole ass country that you never imagined. But as Adam Fairclough said, it failed because you never gave it the support, because you was never with it for the first place. As long as we were still working, you just call us sharecroppers, and you ain't got to pay for clothes and food. So therefore, you actually fixed a problem, and you let your cousins and them, the ex-plantation owners and their children, continue to run this game. Okay, no problem. Now we got to fight our way out of that, and we don't have no friends in this social structure. So all of a sudden, you done fought 2 world wars. We fought in both of them, and now we come back. And the first time we said we returned fighting, you came back with your red summer. You trying to lynch everybody. F you then. Then you dropped a bomb on us in Tulsa and did all this other shit. You try to run us out of East St. Louis. We fighting. You try to kill us in Chicago. And what do? We gave you that work. We don't give a damn. And Du Bois is there watching the whole thing, writing, watching the whole thing, teaching, watching the whole thing. 1945, you dropped 2 bombs on some non-white people and now 1 on Germany. We see what you're doing. Du Bois, Paul Robeson and them, S.E. Robeson and them, Shirley Graham, we're against all nuclear weapons. You're a communist. You know what? Why don't you go with Colin Powell people? Because y'all killers, and you just want to kill people. And then you want to write Jesus Christ's name on the side of your bomb. Like you onward Christian soldiers or something. Actually, you are onward Christian soldiers, because we understand that European-style Christianity is about fighting and killing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of like how y'all design that Red Rover game and that football game. But our ways of knowing are about, you know, dancing and community, you know, like Richard Roundtree jogging up and down on the beach in Man Friday, or Pele playing soccer. In other words, why everybody gotta be punching somebody in the face? We know what? Later for this, there are more of us than there are you. So when Du Bois gets this team together, this airing dirty laundry, I ain't even got no draws. We getting ready to show the world the naked black behind of what's going on to us in this social structure. And we're going to make an appeal to the world. So, you know, you can't do that without the social structure responding. So what happens? Well, friends, these people who are anti-CRT, they would say what we're doing now is CRT. First of all, this is not CRT. And as Du Bois said, you got to change between fact and desire. And as this dude writing from the Scalia Law School in the Wall Street Journal said the other day, if you want to build a nation, some of it's going to involve what I call the violence of forgetting. But guess what? Maybe building a nation isn't the objective. You can have a state that doesn't have the same set of national identities. And that's what's killing these white nationalists. It's not enough for everybody to be able to have a driver's license, because you don't want everybody to have a driver's license. It's not enough for everybody to vote. Well, you don't want everybody to vote. You want to force your memories into my head, and you're not going to do that. Worse still, you want to keep your children from learning something different that might make them a little less racist, and you're willing to risk. In fact, you would prefer that my child learn what you want her to learn, so she'll keep being your Condoleezza Rice or Colin Powell. Not going to happen. So who did they send to talk to Du Bois? Because she's a founder. She was at the founding of the UN in San Francisco in 1945. She's part of the delegation, permanent delegation to the UN. She's working with the State Department. Who did they send to tell Du Bois, who got the green light rather, from the end?
I'm gonna stop it there because, like I say, he jumps around. What you think?
That's you know, I guess that's been the CRT as he used it has been a pretty hot topic, and you know, I'm kind of, you know, I like to really see how they would teach this, because my main thing is we need to just teach history, like, you know, because I hear the whole 1619 project. Well, no, I mean, I think we need to go deeper than that for it to truly have some context, because that's the time in which they're considering history. Like, I don't want my son to be thinking like, you know, we're some, because, you know, like perpetual victims or something. You know what I'm saying?
That's the issue, man. Nobody knows. He talks about it a little bit more in that video. He does talk about CRT a little bit more, I think, right after that clip too. But that's the problem, man. Nobody knows what it is. I can scream it from the bottom of my lungs, but I go to university. They don't teach it in my classes. You don't learn CRT unless you go into law school. Those are the only people who know CRT. It's not taught in no schools, nowhere.
Okay. Well, but see, my thing is, okay, I mean, if that's just a name for it, you know, because I mean, honestly, the problem is that the history has been taught one-sided. A lot of the important things that changed, you know, the dynamics of, you know, how we live up to today, you know, they don't really, you know, they if they make mention of it, is not in enough context to really.
It's a political vehicle, and that's what you need to see it as. Okay, like I say, first off, nobody knows what it means. So throwing the word around is only just heading into 2022 and 2024, and that's all it's about. Nothing else. Nothing else. And you know what? I voted today. They had a bunch of those little things on there. They're trying to fight against the infrastructure, and it's really worded. It's funny. It's funny because the ones that are trying to help at the bottom, they don't explain. You know how it's hard to understand, like the little provision or whatever. They're making constitutional amendments, Texas constitutional amendments, and then it'll say at the bottom of it, it'll say this will increase taxes. Like, and I ain't never seen it say that before. And on the other ones, it make it sound like, you know, it's helping like the companies and stuff. Like, it's really like, anyways, everybody, if you here in Texas, go vote. It's, I think early voting is still going. I don't know how long. Election day. I mean, it's not these small. See, okay, school board. It was school board people on there, because that's why I mentioned this, because it's related to the CRT. All this is heading into the next election and the election after that. Because see, they're using this CRT to be like, they want to get positions on the school board. Okay, you know, those are elected positions. So you got these people who are CRT haters or whatever, going into trying to get elected into these smaller spots like this, like the little superintendent or whatever you call it, the freaking school board or whatever you call it. And fucking so look, the point of it is this: they are not teaching no CRT in no classes. This is a law school shit. It's not in nobody's schools. What they're using this is so they can get in there and be like, okay, we're taking out all of the stuff that's in the books already right now. And that's what they're doing. They're pulling books like Toni Morrison. They pulled one of Toni Morrison's book. This book's been out there and been used in schools for years and years and years. It don't have nothing to do with no CRT. They're pulling that book. They're pulling other books. That's what they're doing.
Well, and I totally, I agree. I'm sure that's exactly what's happening. But you know, one of the things that you know, what if you can really think back, what conversation did CRT take the place of?
I don't know what it took the place of, but you know, I was thinking about it today when I was walking around. I was thinking about it because I was thinking about the New York Times. You know, the New York Times are the ones that dropped that like 1619 project. Yeah. And they promoted it big and made it into a big TV show. And you got to know that the New York Times are not your friend, if that makes any fucking sense. If you're an intelligent person, you have to know that the New York Times is not looking out for you in any kind of way. The New York Times is not on your side. What
mainstream media is.
So trust and believe that. So with that said, they pushed that 1619 project, and that's what kind of brought this whole CRT thing to the mainstream. That's how the word came about of us talking about it now.
But isn't that one of the isn't that like a part of what they're using as a you know, propel the whole CRT conversation?
That's my point. I'm thinking that's that like controlled opposition shit that they be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, they not on your side. So now they probably had a plan. This was probably the plan the whole time. It may have been because they realized Trump pulled some shit out. You know what I mean? He pulled out like some tactics that worked, and they was like, holy shit, that shit worked. And they copying it in all kinds of ways. You know what I'm saying? As political capital, or as ways to, you know, gain in political positions, like that Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a little trumpet for sure. And there's more. There's I don't know. I can't think of the names. There's more little trumpets. They're popping up all over the place. And maybe they jump on some shit like CRT, and they use that to get elected in some shit like a school board. And then they use the position now. Once they don't give a damn about CRT really, because like I said, it's not even taught in the schools. It's not taught in the university that I go to.
Yeah, but look, I'm gonna tell you, man. I mean, one thing about history is that it goes hand in hand with law, because that's one of the things that really tells what was happening during that period, why those things were changing, the things that were
So
changing
that
in
and
the
that's what
kids.
I understand about CRT. Like I say, I only understand it to a certain extent, but that is what they were doing. They're looking at the history, they're looking at the racial history, but only through the lens of the law, only through how like laws were passed and racial laws and shit like that. That's what it is. That's what CRT actually is. And you
Or
can't understand it unless you freaking understand the law, the way, really understand the law. You know what I'm saying? And then you can go into it and get what the fuck. But the dissemination of information like the 1619 and all of that, confusion. That's not CRT.
well, I think they need to go back a little bit further, at least another 30 years, 40 years before this whole 1619. Like, honestly, 1590.
But again,
I mean,
we
no, it needs to
I
go further than that because we're 14.
but again, we don't know that they don't. Like I say,
Well,
that
no, but that's see. Well, the reason why I feel, and this is just based on what I'm hearing, from these commentators that, discussing it, is that they're saying that 1619 is the important thing because that's when slavery started. But actually, slavery started in 1492 when they were expelling the Moors
But
out of
again,
out of
bro,
Europe.
that's that New York Times. They
I
the
know.
ones
No.
dropped the
I get.
1619, and we don't. And again, most of these people are arguing about the CRT, and they don't even know what it is. They don't
I
know. They
well.
could be talking about going before 1619. I don't
Well,
know. I
some
would have to
well
take some
some of
classes.
some of these people have been exposed to critical race theory because they deal in law. So some of
Only
these
if
people,
they went to law school. That's the only ones I would believe
okay,
that said they know what they're talking
but
about.
but then they're the ones who end up arguing about it because this is like this is conversation in Congress and like so these people they know law and the biggest conversation of the biggest thing that I hear as a defense why it's not good is because they don't want their kids to feel like to like I
Guilty.
get start to feel guilty about their history. But that's the thing, like, and I do agree with Greg Carr when he says that you know that the very things that they could teach them about that might actually change. Like they don't want their children to change their ways of seeing the world. Like they want them to continue on the same racist ideas that they had, or like them feeling bad about themselves. Okay, what about the rest of people? Like, when can we have just clear honesty and show the good and the bad on both sides? Because I mean, if we really go, teach true history, I mean, we find out why, we are why we end up going into slavery. Like we were doing things before, like we enslaved them first. I mean, it's a lot of things that's there that people really need to know to understand how we got here, and that's the only way. Like, we really have to clear the air, in my opinion, in order for us to be able to, live.
And I completely agree with you. And that's the reason why the thing is that is dissemination of information. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this channel. It can't happen with with one conversation or one class or even one book. There's no freaking way, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah,
too fucking dense. It's too much.
yeah, because I don't even have a problem with them teaching the whole Christopher Columbus discovering America. And the reason why I say that is because, if you go to why they're able to use that in law, is you go to the doctrine of discovery, like that whole bill that you know that
No, but that's some old bullshit. Some old white person pulled out of their fucking ass. Come
Well,
on.
I understand, but at the same time, that will give it context. Like that'll make people understand more why that was used. The whole, him discovering America. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
dude,
some
like,
bullshit.
no, I mean, it really is. But like I said, like if people actually had the context behind it, because like there's probably kids
They
that's
could
thinking
understand.
like, oh wow, he found a land that didn't exist. Okay.
No. But they would understand the law better. Definitely, they would understand the law better. They would also understand like history better and the way like things have happened here, and like the what was it? Sea to shining sea. What is it? The land of the free. Whatever. They had a chant that they had for the westward expansion because they did it for I don't know over 100 years. They was moving towards California. Because people have to remember the United States was small. It was a little country on the East Coast. It grew over time. And they had a slogan, and it was like to the sea or something. And the motherfuckers and Jews in Israel say the same shit from
from
the
the
river to
from
the
the
sea.
from the halls of Montezuma to shores of Tripoli, and then there's I don't know. Is that the same? Is that the same one? Like,
I think that, but it's still the same because that's the southern part of it. They had that shit for all over. The motherfuckers. That's what they do. They make up like it's a chant, a song, and it's like the reason why we're doing this. And they thinking 100 years ahead.
shit, more than that. Because I
Check
mean,
this.
right now, like especially with our government, they feel like they fail if like just think about that whole comment that happened. I'm sure a lot of people heard it where Biden was saying, "Well, we got big problems. It's not just the African Americans. It's the Hispanics is y'all gonna have to work with the Hispanics because they make up a bigger percentage than you guys," which was talking about because this was a meeting with a lot of what quote unquote black leaders, and saying y'all gonna have to start working with them because the pretty much the numbers of white people are dwindling. Like say by 2040, you know white people will be a minority. So they kind of like at a because really right now everything that they're doing is to try to keep a hold on the country the way it is, and bring because they're still bringing in new immigrants to replace them, to replace themselves because their numbers are getting low, and they don't want us, them pushing Haiti out, more, black immigrants that could be coming in because they don't want the black numbers to rise. So like it's a lot of stuff that's going on like right now that people don't realize. Like they're still holding on to a lot of the ideas, things that was planned 500 years ago, or maybe even further back than that.
Yeah. So that's what this is. We're going into history, and this is a bit of a class. I ain't gonna lie. You're gonna know some of this stuff, but there's nuggets all in this shit.
Well, I'm
This
looking at what you got. I'm seeing what's on this page right here, the Olmec. You know the real name of those people, right?
what's that?
The She people. That's where I got. Where part of my name comes from. She. They were the She people, and they gave that name because it's just a termed old mix. It would be OLDMEX, but they wrote it like that just to kind of
I
make it seem
believe
like.
it. The Europeans always like all the names of like everything has been like a little bit because they be bending shit because of how they hear shit. You know what I'm saying? They don't
Well,
be understanding really, and that's how you end
well,
up
no,
with shit like that.
it's somewhat of a code system. I mean, they know what it really is, but they want to lie. Like this. They make up. So like that's just a way of saying the truth and a lie at the same time.
Damn. That's what I always say. The best place to hide the truth is in between two lies. That's fucking. A lot of the religions are that, but they put poison in that shit. So if you eat the whole sandwich, bro, it's just like they say, you drunk the Kool-Aid. This video got. If you listen on earphones, everybody turn your earphones down a little bit or whatever. I don't know. The sound is not good. It jumps around. Be careful with the sound. I don't know. There's breaks in this video where they have this like, I don't know what the hell they were doing. But look, it was the best one I could find. It's so hard to research this shit, bro. It's amazing. I was looking for a couple of hours before I did this show for shit.
I'm gonna check.
Articles.
Well, I'm sorry, because I was just gonna say, like, before you play it, like, one of the crazy things that I don't think a lot of people really identify, and I have, because I've been on this journey of honest. Like, one of the main things I want to know more about is ancient America, and we're
Me
finding out
too.
some things here more. But if
This
there was,
you're gonna love
if
this first clip.
if the real secrets was in Africa, they wouldn't be allowing all of the stuff and pointing
You're
in the
gonna love this
direction of
first
Africa.
clip. I was thinking about you. Check it.
All right.
A new discovery, which has not yet been published. It relates directly to the black communities across America. After here, I'm going to Bimini. As you said, I'm also going to be speaking at the Washita Conference again in Louisiana about this. But before I tell you about that, people will say, well, big deal, so what?
Give him a chance. He starts off slow.
No, he's good. I've seen this before.
Oh, okay.
Take from each one of you as an individual everything you knew about life.
But he does have good info.
And just erase it. Where would you be? You'd be lost. You'd be incompetent. You wouldn't know how to plan for the future. And you do the same thing with a people. If you erase their history or you don't tell enough about their past, they also become incompetent and they can't fulfill the future. And that's why a lot of people in the black community have felt, well, how come all of the dreams of the civil rights movement aren't yet fulfilled? And one reason is because this history is still suppressed. It still isn't taught. But there's been a recent discovery which is going to blow the lid off of all that. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, basically, what science has now found, although this is suppressed for the most part, there have been some great researchers. You have some wonderful books there, like by Ivan van Sertima, who's talking about these things. This is not taught in your public schools, although it will be. The history that the children are learning today is not going to be history that's going to be taught in the next 25 years. It's radically different. We now know for a fact that long before Columbus, there were 4 major migrations of blacks to the Americas, different parts of the Americas, for totally different reasons, totally separated from each other by many centuries. But nonetheless, there were these black, you can call them migrations, but they were not in charge. I'll describe, you can make up your own mind what they were. The most recent of these took place about 400 years before Columbus was even born, and it's all outlined in a marvelous book over there. It's called The Golden Trade of the Moors. And it is now known that the West African kingdom of Mali had huge fleets of merchant vessels, and that these kings, these black kings of West Africa, began sailing across the Atlantic to Mexico as early as 900 AD. Now, why did they do that? They did that for trade, not for conquest or invasion. They did this for trade. Mali was very wealthy in gold. They had lots of minerals. Some of the black kingdoms that were called the Yoruba, the Benin, they were great workers in bronze. But the trouble with West Africa, and it's still a trouble today, not enough food, famine. Somehow, the black kings of Mali had preserved this tradition of long before, where there was this kingdom across the sea, a totally different one. It was very hard to reach. You needed to have excellent ships and good sailors. And nobody in Europe was doing it this time.
Everybody knew. Only the Europeans didn't know.
Across the Atlantic was very rich in a certain kind of food, which the people over there called maize. We now call corn. And these West African kings launched at least 2 major fleet trading ventures that went across the Atlantic 900 AD to about 1600 AD. And they brought over their bronze work, and they taught the Mexican people, the ancient Mexican people, who were then known as the Mayas. The Mayas had built up a great kingdom of their own, but in 900 AD, they were in decline. They were really on the outs. Nobody knows exactly why, but their society was in decline. They were losing all of their technology. Then these black fleets came across from West Africa, from Mali.
He keeps saying black.
Gold work, bronze work.
Black fleets.
They came back with shiploads of corn, maize.
They were family.
Now, we know for sure that this actually happened because very recently, you'll see in the next issue of our magazine, not this issue, the next issue is coming out in about this is part of it. The discoveries are happening so fast and furious, it's hard to keep track. They now have found that a certain type of maize or corn, which is growing in West Africa, has been growing there for many centuries, is not native to West Africa. It is a type of corn which comes from Mexico. Could have only been brought over by these Mali seafarers over 1,000 years ago. So this is the first concrete proof that they beat Columbus by centuries. And we're not just on a voyage of exploration. They were going back and forth, bringing corn back. Now, why do we know about that? Well, this trade stopped abruptly 1600 AD. 1600 AD, the Spanish, the Portuguese were on a real aggressive colonizing campaign, and they took over Africa, and they destroyed a lot of these kingdoms. And with the destruction of these kingdoms went all the knowledge and all the history of these past trades. This is a tremendous lesson for us because, you know, we're so proud of our American civilization. We think it'll go on forever. But when a civilization falls, history tells us it takes almost all memory of it with it. Civilization is really very fragile. And that's why these lessons from the past are very, very important. If we want to preserve our civilization, we have to learn what happened to these others that crashed.
What you think about it?
Yeah, there's a lot more to that that video. So I think I've seen it from beginning to end. But you know, some of the terminology that they're using is because I don't know what decade that was. It looked like it was probably something from the 80s.
It was 97. It said on the screen.
Oh, it says 97. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, still in all, certain terminology is like if you don't use, you know, black or, you know, refer to black people as Africans and or some craziness, it doesn't get pushed or promoted and stuff like that. Even with the books, such as like with Van Sertima's book, Ivan Van Sertima's books that he wrote when he came, because I think he's Russian, like he come from Russia or something, and he came to the Americas down into Mexico, and he wrote a few different books. You know, they came before Columbus. I have, you know, I got that book or whatever. But however, the way he originally wrote it, you know, in order for them to you know, to actually put the book out, he had to have it re-edited so that, because he referred to them as Moors, you know, not just the ones that came from Africa, but also the ones here in America, because, you know, the
So
more
they was
you
like,
find out,
you can't publish that shit.
yeah, because I mean they're still trying to hide, you know, like they got to refer to us as black, like they didn't want to give us the same, you know, because I mean that would mean, okay, if we're talking, you know, referring to these black people, quote unquote black people, as black, then, you know, like, because they went through a whole lot of effort to declassify us from what we were called before. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole Moorish, or, you know, even if you just, you know, went with the name of the tribe that you were in, they tried to keep us away from identifying with any of that, because that would just pretty much show proof of who we really are. So there's a lot of stuff that people really got to take into account when you see that. When they're saying those black and Negro and all that's like even the change in how they used to call us Negro. They changed that because if you really look back at what we were called before they called us Negro, that would lead you right back into who we were before that, But however, I think like I said, there's a lot more to that video that of course, I'm sure we don't have enough time to go through.
That's why I say it's way too much information. Yeah, let me see. I think
are charting the known world.
Yeah, check this.
On a map of North Africa, they draw a picture of a man who has status. More gold than anyone else. And he makes all
you already know.
The text says, so abundant is the gold which is found in his country, that he is the richest and most noble king in the land.
Even to this day.
His name is Mansa Musa.
That looked like Tebow from around the corner.
Man, they look like one of my uncles, man.
Some $400 billion. For comparison, Bill Gates came 12th on the list, with something close to a quarter of Mansa Musa's wealth. Mansa Musa is one of the most incredible characters in history. Few of us have ever heard of him.
Musa rules an immense African empire.
Like even when they calculate, today's what today's value of the dollar is today, based on what the value of it was then, like nobody still touches him.
And nobody asked where he got his money from. He looked like he was a trapper. Trap king.
He probably was, but I mean, because a lot of people don't realize that they were coming from the east to the west for trade. Well, they said for trade, but they mentioned the corn, but they don't talk about the cocaine.
God knows what.
Huh?
And God knows what else.
The weed.
That's why I be saying about the ships. That's what I was saying in the other video. I don't think he was on the video, but I was talking about the Atlantic trade. They always show the arrows going from Africa to the Americas, like that. Like so, the boats just left Africa and stopped in America, and what they parked the boat. That's it. But if anybody know how shipping works, you moving some shit over here, and then you unload that, and you load that, and you take that shit back, something back. That's how it goes. Every trip is some shit. It's a load.
Yeah,
that's common fucking sense. And like I be saying, the way they did shit now is the way they been doing shit.
Famous pilgrimage to Mecca
forever.
Back a vision to transform the jewel of his empire into a great capital of Islamic
learning. It baffles me that people don't really take into account, like
architects and scholars from the
they
Middle
have
East
calculated, history
Some
to where it's known that Homo sapien has been roaming the world
for a minute. Frozen up. I can't hear you. Froze up.
Take into account that, like, do you think they were playing when they were saying that, like, there's nothing new under the sun? Like, all the stuff that we're doing today, we act like, oh damn, we doing it better than anybody ever did it before, which is most likely like not the case.
And that's why those arrows on those maps, and those are in the books that I read in my anthropology classes, and it has those arrows. They don't show the arrows going back.
They don't show the arrows going back?
No, not really. It just shows the arrows going like that. And it's like, and that gives you a mental image that it was just like extraction, and that's all that was happening.
No.
And it's like it's so crazy because and like whatever, even the first account of Columbus coming, in his writing, he says he took a certain number of natives back with him to Europe, to Spain, whatever. That's in his writings. But that makes sense, right? Like I say, every time the ship comes, every time the ship goes, we dropping some shit off, we picking some shit up.
Because I mean, the whole thing about it is, it's always been about the money. It's always been about extracting resources. It's all, always been about, whether it's fair or not. But it was about trade. If you're moving from one continent to another, I mean, you just think about like all those barges and stuff that's out in the ocean right
Right
now.
now.
Like the whole reason for that is trade.
Yeah.
So I mean, nothing is different. Maybe the way they did it, like they had different types of ships.
Yeah.
But
basically it's still the same.
Yeah. And there's probably a few ships moving at the same time. The population wasn't as high as it is now. So I mean, maybe it wasn't, necessary to have as many ships, well, they call it the sea at that time, but the oceans as we call it now. But it's all about the money.
Yep. Let's keep it real simple.
Yep.
Timbuktu rivaled Cairo and even Mecca as a center of learning, boasting over 150 schools.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was a city of great knowledge then.
Yes, absolutely. It was absolutely incredible. It is unique, I think, in the world.
The city developed such a reputation that scholars came from all over the Muslim world to study not only Islam, but astronomy, mathematics, history, and medicine. By the mid-16th century, Kanka Musa's dreams had come true. Timbuktu rivaled Cairo and even Mecca as a center of learning, boasting over 150 schools. But if the golden age of Timbuktu is long gone, Philippe tells me that some of its treasures do remain.
Talk about Mansa Musa.
He brought with him an entourage of over 1,000 people. Some sources say 60,000.
You know what I think about from this story is that, again, you can't help people by giving them money. Because he caused inflation and shit by giving people gold and shit. In the long run, it didn't help him.
Well, actually, he devalued the money.
That's what I mean.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess that would be inflation.
In Cairo and in Mecca to house his attendants, and as he traveled through the world, a lot of people merchants in Venice. No thought bubble like.
But that to me, that's just inflation is really just it's a bullshit tax.
Ridiculous wealth, which helped create the myth in the minds of Europeans that West Africa was a land of gold, an El Dorado.
Well, if you use gold as a
and maybe in 5
way to
Well, I mean, it's nothing about any product that we have that makes it more expensive now than it did 1,000 years ago.
Well, you know how they always say supply and demand.
Well,
but
I get.
I would say that's bullshit. I would say that's bullshit too. I put a lot of thought in it.
Yeah.
That's another bullshit term when you think about it. That's part of their little economic system, that the way they want you to think, so you could be on this capitalist ass way of thinking, of extracting resources.
Well, I mean, really, it's a way to keep the poor poor.
Yeah.
To honor and preserve a part of the rich and proud African culture, and to cultivate a deeper understanding of the many contributions that history has made to the world. Alfonso I was the first ruler to modernize Black Africa on a grand scale.
This is good.
He encouraged
This
his people
part.
to learn Christianity and new skills in masonry, carpentry, and agriculture. Alfonso streamlined politics, established modern schools, and later became the first ruler to resist the slave trade. When Sonny Ali Burr came to power, Songhai was a small kingdom in the western Sudan. With a ferocious force, the warrior king won battle after battle, routing marauding nomads, seizing trade routes,
And there's a Malcolm X quote at the end.
his domain.
That's really great. I think it comes after this.
Empire, a major center of commerce, culture, and Muslim scholarship. His greatness is still legendary among the Songhai people today. Askia the Great was a fair and deeply religious man who at times fought established tradition to rule in the best interest of his people. A devout Muslim, he ruled Songhai strictly according to Islamic law. Askia Muhammad Touré united the entire
Looks like Tebow again. There go Tebow.
with a government that is still revered today. A wise and beautiful
that looked like he could have been one of Curtis' people.
Pharaoh, she changed the course of history. Ties beauty.
Curtis' cousin.
So took Pharaoh Amenhotep III. He defied his nation's priest and custom by proclaiming this commoner his great royal spouse. Amenhotep declared that, as he had treated her in life, so should she be depicted in death as his equal. And so the colossal sculpture ordered for their temple thus portrays them as a pair of majestic monarchs, both proud, both noble. A strong leader and military innovator, Shaka is noted for revolutionizing Bantu warfare through standardized weapons and special tactics. Many enemies would flee at the mere sight of Shaka's troops. With cunning and confidence as his tools, Shaka united all tribes in South Africa against colonial rule. For hundreds of years, Nubia and Egypt had been at war. But Nefertari's marriage to King Ramesses II, Pharaoh of Egypt, brought the fighting to an end. The marriage began as strictly a political move, but it later grew into one of the greatest royal love affairs in history. In fact, the temple which Ramesses built for her at Abu Simbel is one of the largest and most beautiful structures ever built to honor a wife and to celebrate peace. One of the greatest monarchs of the Congo, King Simba, had no greater desire than to preserve the peace. He designed an extremely democratic government featuring a system of checks and balances that represented all Bushango people. Also, Simba promoted the arts and crafts to their highest level during his reign. Regarded as one of the greatest generals of all time, Hannibal and his powerful African armies came close to defeating the mighty Roman Empire.
Don't go to sleep. Yeah.
No. I was actually I'm far from sleep. I was just really just kind of thinking of some.
Look at who is that? That's Tyrone. Look at this.
That was one of the Berbers, man.
Listen to this. I didn't know this. Listen.
To legend, she was fascinated with the wisdom of the great King Solomon of Israel. Upon meeting, the king and queen were equally intrigued with one another.
They're gonna say a name.
This grew into love, and their union produced history's longest line of royalty descendants. Returning to Ethiopia, Makeda's influence transcends centuries as the Judeo-Christian tradition remains embedded in modern Ethiopia.
Oh, I missed the name. They said at the beginning while we was talking. Damn.
Akhenaten was the first ruler in recorded history to believe in the concept of one God. He and his wife, Queen Nefertiti, changed Egyptian culture so radically that their influence was felt centuries later through more natural visual art styles and a fuller, warmer language for poetry, songs, and storytelling. At the age of 16, this great Nubian king led his armies against the invading Assyrians in defense of his ally Israel. It earned him a place in the Bible in the books of Isaiah and 2 Kings. Despite continuous warfare, Shaka was able to build overwhelming projects throughout his empire, including a temple with carved images over 100 feet high.
The Egyptian queen ascended to power at the age of 17 to become one of Africa's greatest female rulers. Intelligent and witty, her graceful nature and stunning personality were valuable diplomatic attributes. Striving to elevate Egypt to world supremacy, Cleopatra persuaded Julius Caesar and Mark Antony to renounce their Roman allegiances to fight on behalf of Egypt. Each, however, met his death before Cleopatra's dreams of conquest were realized. Disheartened, Cleopatra pressed an asp to her breast, ending the life of the world's most celebrated African queen.
That was Shakita.
Osei Tutu was the founder and
Keisha.
first king of
That was
the
Keisha.
Asante Nation in what is now Ghana. He was able to convince a half a dozen suspicious chiefs to join their state under his leadership.
They are family
According to legend,
to
this
Keisha
occurred when the
and
golden stool descended from heaven and came to rest on Osei Tutu's knees, signifying his choice by the gods. The kingdom would endure for 2 centuries. Menelik was the overshadowing figure of his time in Africa. He converted a group of independent kingdoms into the strong, stable empire known as the United States of Abyssinia, or Ethiopia. Resisting European colonization and uniting the opposing kingdoms made him one of the
They never
greatest
really
statesmen
conquered.
Though dead for nearly
What am I
100
thinking? I'm
years,
thinking Egypt
Nehanda remains
or
what she was
Ethiopia.
when alive. The single most important person in the modern
Egypt has
history
been conquered over 7 times.
When English settlers invaded in 1896, Nehanda
I must be
and other
thinking
leaders
Ethiopia.
declared war.
Or at least 7
At first, they
times.
achieved great success. But as supplies ran short, so did battlefield victories. Nehanda was eventually captured and executed. Although gone, she was not forgotten, and is still referred to as Mbayu, grandmother, Nehanda, by Zimbabwean patriots. Khama distinguished his reign by extracting technological innovations from the Europeans while resisting their attempts to colonize the Kwana land. Advancements included the building of schools, scientific cattle breeding, and a police
That nigga there.
eliminated crime. In 1875,
Damn, it was a
Khama
show.
approached
I
Queen
can't think
Victoria
of
of
it.
England to protest English settlement in his country. The English honored Khama and his call
Can't
for
think of
continued freedom.
that nigga looked like.
For half a century, the Basutu people were ruled by the wise
Basutu.
just founder
You
of
know
their
something
nation,
that I really
King
want people to
Mosweswe.
kind of imagine?
The Basutu had to
That
fight for their survival
some of
against
the things that
plundering
they're
Africans,
mentioning,
European
especially about
colonialists, and
Egypt,
particularly the
is
Boers.
that
As the relentless
maybe they're
Boers
not
were
talking
about to
about
annihilate
Egypt
the
over in the
Basotos,
east. Maybe they're talking about Egypt
Mosweswe
of the
persuaded the
west
British to
Yeah.
make Masutu land a
at
protectorate,
some of
a
those different
diplomatic coup
times.
that helped to assure
Right.
his nation's survival and to assure Mosweswe a place in African history.
Because people don't understand how names of places change. These damn Europeans came and changed all the names of everything.
Well, I mean, wherever the ruler was at the time, if somebody comes and tries to invade, they'll get them out of the way and send them, somewhere else where it might be a kingdom that they already had, a palace or something that they may have in the east, or
In each city,
Yeah.
Somari built a mosque, a testimonial of his devotion to Islam. During the 18-year conflict with France, powerful Somari continued
I just
to
want
frustrate the Europeans. His astute military
people to
prowess
hear about black
prompted some
people,
of France's greatest commanders to entitle the African
doing shit.
Black Napoleon of the
That don't have shit to do with slavery.
People of Dahomey often referred to their monarch,
Like, you know what I mean?
King Shark, for his strength and wisdom.
That's going to be a hard thing for some people to really grasp, because a lot of them, they believe more so what
Well, that's
others
what I'm
say
trying to
than
do. That's what I'm trying to do with this video. So that's why I say, Simba, remember. Damn it. Okay, you're gonna love this clip. You probably seen it before, but
Is that
this.
your legal name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
Have you been to court to establish that you are?
I didn't have to go to court to be called Murphy or Jones or Smith. Excuse me in Francing you this way.
That's
if
all right.
a Chinese person were to say his name is Patrick Murphy,
I love
he's
Malcolm.
insane, because Murphy is an Irish name a European name or the name that has a Caucasian or white background.
Right.
And a yellow person. Chinese is a yellow man, and he has
talking to
nothing to
me?
do or no connection whatsoever with
No.
Murphy. And if it doesn't look proper for a person who is yellow
I'm just like,
or Chinese to be walking around named Murphy or Jones or Johnson or Bunch, or
it would be ridiculous, right? If that was their last name.
for a black person or the so-called Negro in this country, as we're taught.
And watch how the white dude keeps trying to make him submit, because he's gonna try to make him say his name.
Slavery. The same slave master
His slave
who
name.
owned us, put his last name on us to denote that we were his property. So that when you see a Negro today who's named Johnson, if you go back in his history, you'll find that he was once his grandfather or one of his forefathers was owned by a white man who was named Johnson. If his name is Bunch, his grandfather was owned by a white man that was named Bunch.
Watch.
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
Watch.
My father didn't know his last name. My father got his last name from his grandfather, and his grandfather got it from his grandfather, who got it from the slave master. The real names of our people were destroyed during slavery.
Was there any line, any point in the genealogy of your family when you did have to use the last name, and if so, what was it?
The last name of my forefathers was taken from them
See?
when they were brought to America and made slaves. And then the name of the slave master was given, which we refused. We reject that name today.
You mean you won't even tell me what your father's supposed last name was?
See?
Gifted last name.
He wants him to say it. It's a way of submission.
Let me ask you about the status of Elijah Muhammad. First of all, is he ill?
I spoke to him today.
Look, he's gonna bring it back.
And he has been. He's suffering from asthmatic bronchitis.
The white dude, he's gonna bring it back.
Your rally on last Tuesday?
The only reason
He wants him to say it.
was his ill condition.
Watch.
And the weather here, especially on that particular day, was of such nature that it would have been almost insane for him to come.
Well, now, did you hold that meeting last Tuesday because it coincided with the general election, the primary election?
I think if you study the history of Mr. Muhammad's work and religious work in this country, we've had our convention on February the 26th every year for, I think, the past 33 years.
Well, now, while you don't care to discuss your former name or the name that the slave master gave to your antecedents, it is a matter of record that Muhammad's last name was Poole. Elijah
See, look.
Poole.
No,
See?
That's the name that his slave master gave to his grandfather or great-grandfather, but that's not his name.
Well, his mother and father thought when they called him Elijah Poole that was his name.
They didn't know any better.
Well, if they didn't know any better or not, they thought that was his name.
Yes, sir. But,
So
sir,
what I'm trying to find out is when did he cease to be Elijah Poole and get to be Elijah Muhammad?
in 1931, I think it was, in Detroit, he was taught the true history of our people and made aware at that time that he was wearing an English name, and by not being an Englishman, he looked out of place. And his teacher gave him the name that he's wearing today, Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad.
All right, now when did he become what he purports to be in your literature, the son of Allah?
I've never heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad referred to as the son
The
of Allah.
prophet of Allah.
I've never heard him referred to as the prophet of Allah,
What do you refer to as?
messenger of Allah.
All right, the messenger of Allah, and I appreciate the correction.
Yes, he says that a prophet is somebody who predicts the future, and he's not predicting the future, whereas a messenger is someone who carries a message that has been given to him by one who authors that message.
All right, now who gave him the message and to whom is it supposed to be delivered?
Master W.F. Muhammad, the one who taught him, is the author of the message. He gave it to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which makes him the messenger. And he's to deliver that message of truth and righteousness to the 20 million American so-called Negroes, which means he's to teach us the truth, which will awaken us, and then show us how to live a life of righteousness, which will automatically qualify us as human beings by all other righteous human beings on this earth.
Well, now one other question.
What you think, bro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, you know, I enjoyed all of the old history, going through the Mansa Musa and all. But this is very epic. You know, I've seen this video before as well, and you know, some of them just won't stop. Like they, you know, they don't feel better. They don't feel good unless they're, you know, somehow making you feel less than.
It's like, what was your name? You know your name, Malcolm Little. We want you to say it. Say your name, Malcolm Little. Ain't that the name? Ain't that your name? Ain't that the name your mama gave you? That's your government name. It's on your ID. Malcolm Little. That's what we know you as.
Or is it Clay?
And he,
Cassius Clay.
yeah. And it's like, but he won't acknowledge it. So that's what gives it the power. Because what gives it the power is when you submit to the identity that they, choose to have for you.
Yeah.
And to this day, living in the South, well, my skin crawls every time I hear somebody say like Mr. or Mrs. and then they use the first name. You get what I'm saying? I don't know why it bothers me.
When you hear somebody talk to a person and
Mr.
say,
Chaka, Mr. Pat, go on and go get that candy to Mr. Pat. Go on and do that for Mr. Chaka.
yeah, that's something, that's I don't know. I guess I've been raised doing that because I've been doing this since I can remember.
It's left
I'm
over
not
from
sure where it came
slavery. It's from slavery. It's left over from slavery. They didn't have no like last names. Like that's how it was when you was a slave. Your name was Charlie and that was it. Whatever the hell name they came up with, Bob. That's it. That was your name when you was a slave.
Yeah.
So that's why I was Mr. Bob or Mrs. Bob, Mrs. Bobby. That's where that shit came from. I don't talk about it a lot, but it bothers me.
I'm
It's a
sorry,
whole
Miss
bunch of.
Ann. I'm sorry, Miss Ann. That's something I can't do.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I don't talk about it a lot, but that's the kind of shit that makes me crazy. That's the reason why I don't talk about it a lot, because people would just be mad at me all the time.
Well, you know what? Some people need to get mad and, be mad enough to do something.
Because we need to stop it. We need to stop it with that. We keep teaching the kids to do that, and that's left over from slavery. It's super like, ugh. We got a bunch of those habits, like we was talking about before in other videos, talking about the chitlins and stuff. I think a lot of our generation is kind of moving away from that stuff so much. The like, that really unhealthy, what they would call soul food.
I just thought about that guy, the video we watched a little while ago. He was talking about, the old Mick and I don't know the guy's name, but the video you said was done in 97.
Yeah.
25 years after that.
It's still not. He said it's gonna be getting taught in schools. I thought about that when I was watching the video. It's right at about 25 years too. Hold on, let me see. 20.
It was past 25. Should be.
No, because that's right at 2000 is 97, right? So 3 years to 2000.
Yeah.
So then 2022 is
coming.
22. It's not here yet. So 2021 plus 1, 2, 24. So it would be 24 years. We're going right on 25 years right now from then.
All right. So is that why the whole CRT conversation is going on? Because is the change of the way history is going to be taught is based on that?
Dun.
I mean, hey, some stuff comes back around full circles and gives an even better question.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, because something definitely has to happen about the history. Like honestly, like just the way they teach kids.
It was so hard for me to find this kind of stuff, bro. I was searching. So literally, all that kind of information is literally suppressed.
Let me ask it, like, so we're talking about schooling and stuff like that. What was wrong with the way that we were doing math before now? Like what they, what's making the way that the new math so much better than the way that we were doing it before?
What do you mean?
Well, you know, like, cause help my son do some homework. It's like I'm mostly talking about on math and the way that they write these circles or squares and whatever to be able to figure out
You say
an
it's
equation.
easier?
I don't think it's necessarily easier. I mean, I guess if that's the only way that a kid learns, then yeah,
No, I don't
that's
like the way they're teaching them the math. I don't like the way they're
what
teaching them the math. No,
that's
yes,
my
I was
that's
doing
my main question.
my math with my daughter, and yes, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why are they teaching you like this?" Because when I was showing her how it goes, she was like, "No, my teacher tell me we do it like this," and I'm like, "What the hell is
Well,
that?"
look, and look, and you know that's the thing. Like I had to Google, I YouTubed the way they're doing their math, you know, to be able to, help Patrick with his work and stuff. But at the same time, I still show him the way I was taught,
That's what
and
I
it's
did. And but it's confusing the kids. So because it's really the same thing, but it's just the way they're telling them is, I don't know, it's
well,
confusing to
no,
me. And
no,
then it's like,
honestly, based on some of the things, like I said, I mean, this is, rumor has it that it's to frustrate our kids.
yes, that's I say it frustrated I was trying to do her homework. It was frustrating the shit out of me. So if that was the point, it succeeded like a motherfucker with me. When me trying to help her, I was like, what the fuck? I don't even get it. And fucking like, so what was I gonna say? And when I took it in school, like I say, I failed statistics. I took that class 3 times, and I think it's literally trying to confuse you, like the way they word the shit in the book. Like I had to point it out with the professor that it had confusing numbers. It had a page number, and then it had like some other kind of number, and then it had like some other kind of number. So it was like, which one is the page number? And the professor was like, yeah, I don't know why they did that like that. That is kind of confusing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't get it, man. Like, it's way simpler to do it the old way than it is the new way. But like I said, if that's the way the kids learn, that's the only way a lot of kids really know. Like, that's the only thing that they actually know is how they're teaching it in school.
They're making them feel dumb. They want to make them feel dumb, so they won't keep going to school. I don't know why. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but that's what they're doing. Because school be trying to make me feel dumb. They may be making me trying to feel dumb. I've been fighting against that for my whole shit. Check out Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's check a little bit of this out.
People in Kenosha, Wisconsin, murders that took place during the protests against the police shooting of Jacob Blake. But now the judge in that case is saying the 2 who were killed cannot be called victims, but instead they should be called looters, rioters, and arsonists.
The word victim is a loaded word. And I think alleged victim is a cousin to it. Let the evidence show what the evidence shows, and if the evidence shows that any or more than one of these people were engaging in arson, rioting, or looting, then I'm not going to tell the defense they can't call them that.
Now, in a minute here, I will get to a couple of opinions from 2 different lawyers, one more moderate or conservative, another more progressive, and their thoughts on all this. But first, right off the bat, clearly using those descriptions suggests that Rittenhouse was justified in his actions, clearly helping his case.
Right.
Even though those victims were not charged for rioting, looting, or arson. And the judge claiming that it's a loaded term to claim they're victims. Is it not loaded to claim they're rioters, looters, and arsonists when they have not been convicted of any of those crimes, were not convicted of any of that? And when Kyle Rittenhouse killed them, they were not in the process of doing any of those things?
You know that case though, right? You know who that is, right? The guy who traveled over there with the
let
gun.
me just go to the more
There's clips. The videos went viral
on CNN. This is
when it happened.
Tubin and his
I remember the names and
It's
stuff.
a very weird. It's a very weird ruling.
It is worth pointing out that there are some judges who don't like the word victim in their courtroom because they do feel it's prejudicial. It sort of assumes the conclusion of the trial. Most judges don't do that, but some do. This judge apparently does it in all his cases. That's one thing. And if that's a consistent policy, that's understandable. What's very weird is allowing this extremely pejorative, assuming the conclusion words of rioters and looters, which all in all should help Rittenhouse's defense a great deal.
You hear?
All
Do
right,
you,
so in
do
a
you
second, I'll get to
understand?
the progressive
Like
lawyer
what's
position
what's
or
happening?
perspective here
They
in a bit, but
they can't
first here, I
call
think this is
the
good
people who
context for
got
this
killed
conversation because
victims.
here
I know it's
Jeffrey
crazy.
Tubin
I
claims
mean,
that it's not
I'm hearing
abnormal
it, but
for a
I mean,
judge
I
to not
don't
want to
really
use the
get
term
why they're
victim.
doing it.
So
The
that
judge
part
made that
perfectly normal and
decision.
fine.
He said that the
This is
defense,
weird though, according to Tubin and me.
I mean,
looking
the
at this all,
prosecutors can't
is
call
that
them
replacing
victims,
victim with a criminal descriptor.
but he
So
can call them
if you think
rioters,
victim is a loaded term,
arsonists.
how do you not see arsonist, looter as a loaded term? This clearly, once again, as I'll show you, this isn't the first time the judge has ruled in Rittenhouse's favor, but this once again is the judge ruling in his favor, helping his case. So here is an opinion on this from
There's a lot to
Ellie
this
Mistal
fucking
of The
shit right
Nation.
here.
He writes
Everybody is
here,
watching
now
this.
there is a progressive
You know, he had a
argument for
$2
not
million
calling victims with
bond
homicide
and
victims at
made
trial.
it.
I can absolutely see the argument
Where
that
do you think
using
he
the
got
term
that
in a
money
case where
from?
the defendant claims self-defense lacks neutrality. It's a choice other judges have made, though I doubt that this kind of neutrality would be given to a black teen who gunned down people at a MAGA rally. Still, I wouldn't call Judge Schroeder biased for this ruling alone.
What they call this
I call
shit?
Schroeder biased because at the same
Your
conference at
friends,
which he decided to prohibit the prosecution from using the word victims to describe the people Rittenhouse shot, he said he would allow the defense to use words like rioters, looters, and arsonists to describe those same people. So here you go. Two separate legal opinions, one from a more conservative moderate in Jeffrey Tubin, another from a progressive in Ellie Mistal, and both come to the same conclusion here, that saying that not using the word victim is not biased in itself, but that replacing that with rioter, looter, and arsonist is the actual bias taking place. That is the problem. Now, this isn't the first time that this judge, as I said earlier, has ruled in Kyle Rittenhouse's favor. So Ellie Mistal goes on to write this, saying, moreover, Schroeder's bias has been evident in several other pro-Rittenhouse rulings over the past year. He let Rittenhouse out on $2 million bail, which is not cheap, but something Rittenhouse was able to crowdfund because enough white supremacists rallied to his cause. Refused to make Rittenhouse turn over his address to prosecutors, then did nothing when Rittenhouse repeatedly violated the terms of his release. He also ruled that he will allow Rittenhouse's defense team to introduce evidence of police telling him and other armed whites, quote, "We appreciate you," end quote. And while I have no doubt that some racist cops in Wisconsin were totally happy to have another gun-toting white boy on their side, police permissiveness ordinarily has no bearing on a claim of self-defense. At the same time, Schroeder announced that he will not allow prosecutors to introduce evidence of Rittenhouse's prior disposition to shoot people to death. There is video of Rittenhouse watching from a car as people leave a CVS. He calls them looters and says that he wishes he had a gun to shoot them. The video was taken in August 2020, about 2.5 weeks before Rittenhouse shot up the streets of Kenosha. There are also photos from January 2020 of Rittenhouse posing with members of the Proud Boys. Both the video and the photos will be excluded, but the police patting Rittenhouse on the head like a good little white supremacist will be included.
So
given all
you
this
know
context,
it went viral.
it is
So
clear
the
that the
video
judge
can't
is
be
siding with Kyle
used
Rittenhouse.
in
Now,
the
you can
trial.
already make that claim just based on the ruling
Except
about
for
the
the
victims and calling
clip
them looters instead.
of the
You can make
cops
that claim
patting him
alone
on the
just based
head.
on that. But given this extra context here, clearly this entire time the
This
judge has been ruling in
these
Rittenhouse's
are
favor to help
judge
his case.
decisions. What can
Imagine
be
the shoe was on the other foot.
permissible and what's not. That
Ellie
dude, they
Mistal
just
here
showed him,
mentioned
whatever the
earlier,
hell his name
imagine
is.
it was someone shot two
he was a
people
federal
murdered
judge?
at a MAGA rally
Ugh.
by a
Don't get me in line.
Biden supporter. How do you think that would be played by these same judges, by this same judge? It's amazing. These victims here are not the ones on trial, yet they're the ones that can be called the criminals. Meanwhile, Kyle Rittenhouse gets every ruling so far apparently in his favor.
What you think about it?
Don't make sense. Like, I mean, it's really simple as that. Like, how? All right. So, well, I mean, I guess based on a legal, on the legal sense, I mean, I guess they could do that because I think we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. Was a bunch of them was out there, like they were more considered the aggressor because the people who were there had permits to be there, and the other ones were just upset that they were there and came to disrupt
Nah,
whatever.
nah. Now you're talking about the Charlottesville. I haven't played that clip yet. I'm finna play that now.
Okay, I
Well, wait a
thought that
minute.
was
But he just went. Wait a minute. That is Charlottesville, but he wasn't one of them. He wasn't one of those. He came like by himself, like and shit. Like he just kind of took a trip from. He was out of state and took a trip down there with a pistol in. And the clip shows a lot. The clip shows what really was happening, and the people got on his ass, and that's why he shot another person. Because they was like, he shot somebody, and then the crowd ran towards him. He ended up getting off of them because he shot another person, and then the damn cops was coming, and they just like they was like, I don't know if he threw up some kind of signs or something, but they waved at him. Carry on, brother. They arrested him later, but that was right after he had just did it.
Federal civil trial that charges the organizers with an unlawful conspiracy to commit violent acts. On August 11, 2017, in what's been billed as a climax to a summer of hate, several hundred white supremacists marched with tiki torches across the University of Virginia, surrounding a statue of Thomas Jefferson, chanting, "You will not replace us, Jews will not replace us, and white lives matter." At the next day's Unite the Right rally in downtown Charlottesville, more than 1,000 white supremacists marched to a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Thousands of counter-protesters also
all of this stuff is related.
Clergy, students, Black Lives Matter activists.
There's a theme with all this stuff that I'm playing.
Movement known as Antifa. Even as fights broke
because
out,
this is
report police did little to intervene. Around 1:45
bringing it
in the afternoon
back
that day,
to the present day.
self-described neo-Nazi James Alex Fields slammed his car into a crowd of anti-racist counter-protesters, killing Heather Heyer and injuring at least 35 others. Fields was later sentenced to life in prison. Those now charged in this civil
That's
trial
the one they
for
ran
violence
over.
in Charlottesville include Jason
what?
Kessler, the main organizer.
That's the
and
chick
white
that got ran
supremacist
over.
Richard Spencer, who spoke at the event. The civil lawsuit cites an 1871 law known as the Ku Klux Klan Act, which allows private citizens to sue other citizens for civil rights violations. This is Elizabeth Sines, one of the plaintiffs in the case, speaking about what she witnessed.
The memories from those 2 days will undeniably haunt me for the rest of my life. I will never forget what it was like to watch Nazis march on a campus that I called home. I will never forget watching them attack my fellow students or the feeling of running from my life through streets I had walked with friends and family countless times before. I don't think anything can ever really prepare you to witness something so horrific. Watching your home be overrun by people who wish to cause as much harm and wreak as much havoc as possible.
The lawsuit was filed by the civil rights group Integrity First for America. Much of the case is based on an extensive
this is
paper
like
trail left
I wanted to
behind by
play this to
organizers of
clear it
Unite
up
the Right rally
because we
in
talked
online
about
chat
this
rooms. One of the
in another
plaintiff's
video.
lawyers, Karen Dunn, told CNN what most stood out to her in the documents.
The image that has stuck with me ever since the beginning of the case was one of the Discord post pictures. It shows a tractor running people over, and it's called the Protester Digester. Look, there's many posts in this case about running over people with cars prior to the car attack.
That's why I say
But that one to me,
it wasn't a peaceful protest, and then they're making it okay for you to drive over protesters.
Senior editor and senior
They're
legal
making it so where it's
longtime resident of
they
Charlottesville
can't
for 18
charge
years.
you
She
or
was
whatever.
living there at the time of the Unite the Right riot in
charge, like,
2017.
criminally?
Talia, welcome
Yeah,
back
some
to
shit like
Democracy
that. I
Now!
don't know
This
how
is
it
a
works. I don't want to lie
highly
to y'all, but
unusual
they
court
changed the
case
law to make it
as the
less
jury
criminal.
selection continues. Can you explain more about what it is all about?
Essentially, I think the way to think about it, Amy, is if the Trump Justice Department had been doing their job at the time, they would have brought some kind of civil rights action in the wake of Charlottesville to hold to account the organizers of this rally, who, as you've just said, were clearly planning, thinking about, anticipating violence and harm and mayhem and terrorizing the local community. Nobody did that at the Justice Department. As you recall, President Trump at the time said there were very fine people on both sides of that protest. And so this is a lawsuit that, as you said, Karen Dunn, Robbie Kaplan, and their associates brought into the vacuum and essentially said, fine, we are going to dust off the KKK Act of 1871. It has not been used recently at all, but it does give a sort of a template for what you can do if your civil rights were violated.
What you think?
I don't know. I kind of ghosted out for a minute.
I'm losing.
Washington, D.C., you have the congressional.
I like it when they talk about Trump.
Members, lawyers like Giuliani and Eastman, a gathering of Giuliani and others at the Willard Hotel nearby to coordinate what ultimately became this white supremacist violent attack on the Capitol. Can you talk about
Remember those clips right there? That's when it was happening.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know.
Those are the clips. They had like a green room while the while they was storming the Capitol. You had Trump and the other big wigs up in a room watching that shit on TV, like it was a reality TV show, like it was Squid Game.
Well, multiple people, and it's coming out more and more people that knew it was about to happen. Even like, you know, Democrats. You know, if people knew it was supposed to be going down, like they knew it, like, but nobody's going to jail.
Because that's messed up. Because not everybody knew it. Because ALC was hiding in her office and shit. She thought she was gonna die. A few others thought they was gonna die.
But they weren't able to. I mean, they just weren't able to be found, or you know, they.
Yeah, they hid. They was never found.
Were they really like one of the people that was that they were looking for?
Yes. Yes.
She was.
Yes.
Oh well, yeah. I could see that.
They came and tore up all her shit. I think her room was the room that got piss and shit all in it. And they knew they knew which rooms. They knew way too much. That's another thing about the whole thing. They knew way too much. And that's the reason why it's not going to come out, because there's way too many people involved. And like I say, they definitely don't want to set a precedent of like arresting a president, a post-president, because that's going to set a precedent. And every president after that going to have to worry about getting his ass locked up.
Well, they should have that worry anyway.
Well, if they don't do something, like I said before, in the Revolution, the French Revolution, what happened in the French Revolution? You remember what? I say, what happened in the French Revolution? It was. That's
Off
what
with your
happened.
head.
Yeah, and I want to say they killed like all the politicians and shit. They was like, all of y'all gotta go.
Well, a lot of people don't talk about it.
That kind of thing could happen. Oh man, I lost them.
Old, raising my hand in classes because I was just beginning to kind of figure out, to asking questions which were leading questions. I wanted to understand the critique of capitalism as a system. And my professors,
You there?
the thing that I took away.
No, I didn't. You fell off.
When I asked the question, whether the professor was good
Okay.
at what his or her job was,
yeah,
I'm saying
I'm
heard.
here. I was just
At that time, his
trying
job,
to take care of something.
he was scared.
Yeah. You know who Dr. Cornel West is, right?
Yeah.
What you think about Dr. Cornel West?
Huh?
What do you think about him?
I mean, say, man, I'm gonna tell you. Just the way I've learned, or the way I see, like a lot of these people that consider themselves, black activists, these ones, especially ones that's somewhat famous, they known here, there, whatever, they get paid to keep us in the dark. Like they don't give us enough information for us to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were really pro, and black is, the popular term, but like these are people who are supposed to be scholars, and if I'm able to know certain things that doesn't come out in the public, that means they're not good scholars, or they're actually hiding shit from us.
No, I completely disagree with that. I think that goes back to what I was saying before, is that it's so much information. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to take one of his classes. You'd have to take one of his classes and you would understand.
Why none of them ever talk about Moors?
He talks about
over the many years that they don't talk about the Moors. They don't have any kind of, like the aborigine, like black people who were actually in power that most of us know about. Well, I say most of us, but like those of us who study know that there were, like, none of this stuff comes out. Like it's like they're part of they're part of the structure, and
I bet you can search up for a lecture of him, because it's a lot of his lectures. He's a professor. He does a lot of classes, a billion classes. I'm willing to bet there's a lecture on YouTube or somewhere else of him talking about whatever the hell it is you're talking about.
All right, you name the number and I'll match it. Let's bet.
Yeah, that's a bet. That's a bet. I don't know, $20.
How much?
$20.
Okay.
I'll pull it up and put it on the show tomorrow.
I'll double it. If you can't find it, I'll take the $20. But if you do find it, shit, I'll give you 50.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna look for it and put it on the show tomorrow. You said, what was the subject again? You said talking about the Moors, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I already seen a lecture of him talking about that.
I mean, here in America, not just talking about Spain, where that those are not the same people as us. That's kind of like some history showing the Moors here in America.
Oh, okay, that's more specific.
That's well, yeah. That's because I mean it's easy. Yeah, you know if as long as it doesn't identify or puts us in the same you know as being the same people. Because I mean honestly, like you know, like you watch some of the videos I watched, the Camaro. It's showing proof. Like I mean, there's books that's been shoot. I want to get a hold to some of them, but that shows that most of Africa was seeded by Americans, like the old school Americans. Like Africa ended up getting populated by you know a lot of Africa. I'm not gonna say all of Africa, but a, a lot of Africa was migrated, was migrated into from America.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the people that they say come from West Africa, those were people that originally came from here. So it wouldn't that be the same people? Man, I'm gonna tell you, you should get on and listen to Sabir Bay. He talks about a lot of different, different things, but he also like he I ain't gonna lie, he kind of goes in on these guys because like they never want to talk to him. Like he's like almost begged them to try to like go, to prove that the stuff that he says is a lie. Like, and of
What
course he
what
shows you
what the
say
what Cornell West says is a lie?
no, like
Oh.
him talking about all of the Moors and how we're connected from like all the different ways that like these people were us, like even the ones over in Spain, how even like Spain was actually a part of was really a part of Africa. It was Africa, it still is Africa. Europe itself was Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to say because after 1492, that's when Spain even became something. It was Andalusia before that. You know what I'm saying? Al Andalus. So why does none of that history ever come up? That was because that was when we were in power, and they can't talk about the times when we're in power because I mean they're part of the structure. They're making money as historians and stuff, but they have to stick to the script that the government allows because they're getting paid by them or the establishment. Shall I say? I don't want to just say the government, but the power structure that's in existence now is like pretty much has set parameters on how far they can teach us. Just like they set curriculums so that they have a guideline to see. Look, don't go too far now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like that's just pretty much the way it's set up. Like, I mean, at some point I'm sure you'll see it more and more, but you're not as big of a conspiracy head as I am. I
Yeah.
don't
I
think.
need solid sources.
Well, and I hear you, and they're there, and I can, well, as far as being able to the trends, you know what I'm saying? It's just like when there's certain things that if a person has spent 20 years, 30 years, 40 years studying certain subjects and they're the top scholars, these are the people that's supposed to be the best of the best. And when you get with somebody who, doesn't have any kind of agenda, that has this, that might have even only been studying it for 5 or 10 years. They don't have any agenda. They just studying and finding what they find. But these people can find it, but for whatever reason, they they just so happen not to run across it. That's the type of proof that I go with, because I mean, it's pretty evident that, you know, like somebody who considers them, like even you, like you haven't been studying as much. There's a lot of stuff that you have discovered that you probably even know that subjects that they don't touch.
Yeah. Nobody knows everything, and education is every day.
I get it, but that's well, hey, you know what? I believe I see it the way I see it. You say, you know, I just have to just accept that, you know, that's the way you see it. But for
Yeah, it's
me,
just
you
I,
know,
I,
my intuition tells me more than I guess yours tells you.
you just follow different journeys around, and usually, you know, I always say when you're looking for the truth, you're gonna land on the same. You know what I mean? You're gonna land in the same place. It don't matter how you got there. It's kind of like the math equation. If you did it right, you know you're gonna come out. We all gonna come out with the same answer. And I also feel like the higher you grow spiritually, you know, when you really grow spiritually, again, you're gonna land in the same place that other people are that have grown really, you know, a long way spiritually. And you can see, and then when you have grown like that, you can see other people's levels of spirituality. You know what I'm saying? You can see where how far they've gone. Education or intelligence or however you want to say that is way more difficult to, like, you can't determine that. You know what I mean? And it's like I say, the more you know, the more you don't you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And the smartest people are the least confident in their knowledge.
Well, well, look, I'm gonna tell you something. Um, you remember the thing that happened with um to do from Wildin' Out. Nick Cannon. You remember Nick Cannon was going through all this stuff where he talked about Jews and, you know, that, you know, they were the fake Jews and this, that, and the other. He was
They made him.
he was
They made him.
holding yeah,
Good.
he was, if you really go back and look, the book that he was holding in his hands was a J.A. Rogers book, 100 unknown facts about the Negro, and that's where he got it from. But you know, at least one of the ways that he was able to get it, because there's a lot of books out there that show, you know, who the original Jews were, and of course, like they were Moors. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that, you know, Moors were only Muslims. No, they weren't. Like Moors is
Yeah.
a this, you know, when
And
you
that's the stuff I be screaming all the time, because really that stuff is common knowledge, because like you say, that's something you can look up easily. That's a Wikipedia right there. A
yeah.
Wikipedia search will do that.
So okay, but listen to this. Is all right now. Just like Nick Cannon stating something that was a truth, he got, you know, he got kind of carried away with the structure in which, you know, he's supposed to teach, or the things that he should or shouldn't say,
Right.
which these guys like Cornel West and Dr. Carr and many others, they know better. So they don't say all of these stuff because they don't want to stop their money. So they don't say things that's the truth that, you know, should like really would be common knowledge to, you know, people who've read some of these books already. It's common knowledge for a lot of us, but they won't say it because it'll mess up their money, because they are part of the agenda. And you know, they, you know, like I said, is more, their money is more important than the growth of the masses.
Even the future.
The future, the all, yes, exactly. So you know, like I said, I mean, that whole thing that happened with Nick Cannon, that's partially proof. Like, I mean, he talked. Dr. Carr is one of the people that Nick Cannon holds up to high regard. Going to Howard because Dr. Carr teaches at Howard University, and that's where Nick Cannon was going to school. So they probably have had private conversations where they've discussed some of these things, but they know that they can't really, say it in public because just like the Jews that's got all the money right now,
Well, look, they fired. Well, he quit. He quit the university. Dr. Cornell West. They wouldn't give him tenure, and it's because of the stuff that he teaches in his classes, and he quit. He don't work for the university no more. This happened like about, I think it's been less than a year.
Okay, well, you know what? I would gladly, for me to be able to gain the respect back for him because after, I used to listen to him and not really, what I'm saying? I just took what he said, because I never really heard him discuss history directly. It was more so around black issues and, maybe touch here and there. So it wasn't like something that really set me off that.
I taught some of his lectures and they're powerful. And the thing is, everybody wanted to take his class. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
he,
saying?
I mean, he's a good. I mean, he's a good orator. You know what I'm saying? He can inflict certain feelings, but
I watched some of his lectures before. See, like I say, I don't care. I don't have to be taking the class. I love this stuff. I watch some of his lectures and he'll pull out a book and he'll cover. It's like he's preaching. I ain't gonna lie. It is like that. He just like if it was a pastor, but it won't be the Bible. He'll be pulling up another book. He'll pull a line out of that hole and then go into his sermon.
Well, one of the things that I like, because even like with was his minister Farrakhan, I love to hear a lot of his speeches, but I don't have full 100% respect for him because of the things that he jumps around. Like he knows I know he's smart and he just like certain things that he's just not gonna talk about. So I still have a respect for him because like he's a smart dude. Like he knows all of the stuff that
I don't know if I made it. I want to say I made a whole video talking about this. How we have to get away from this whole where the message came from shit.
Well, no, but people but the only reason why I have a big problem with that is because they already have a big following. People listen to what they have to say. Like me saying something and Farrakhan saying something are two totally different things. Like completely, like they're not on the same chart.
And your agenda in life and his agenda in life is different. You don't know what these people are up to or what they want to do or what they're trying to do or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You extract the knowledge that you can get from it, the parts that's good, and the other parts you discard.
Okay, well, I just feel like a lot of people would have a lot more growth if he would talk about the nationality thing. Like he knows that what black is in law and what it does to our people, and by him not addressing that really keeps like this is like it's pretty much keeping black people in a stone age.
The Nation of Islam has been co-opted since way back in the day, just like Christianity. They both do that.
Oh no,
so he can't step out of that. They're making money too.
Well,
they're not gonna
Christian pastors. Like I look at it the same way.
It's the same shit. I don't want to. So if they really wanted to teach them, then they wouldn't be going to their church no more, their mosque no more, or attending the FOI no more, because now they didn't grew and realized that, oh, wait a minute, this is leaving out stuff.
Well, see, the whole thing is like if you're on that level, you really want to see, you know, quote unquote, black people prevail. Like you have to accept at some point that they won't need you anymore.
Exactly.
But you have to accept that and be ready for them to fly on like doves, and you know, go out and get their own food.
But
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're saying what people should be doing or whatever. What the hell
yes.
people are doing and what they should be doing is two totally different things.
So you agree with that? Like you feel
What
like
I'm saying is you can't control what people are doing.
No, I'm not. I mean, I know I can't control it.
Everybody
but-
got different agendas. You can't expect you. What I'm saying is you have to focus on the message, not the messenger. So no man is perfect. You're not gonna get a perfect message from anybody. Every message that you listen to is missing shit or is misguiding you in some kind of way. Every single one. There's no exceptions.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, my voice is if my voice is ever as loud, if my voice is half as loud as Farrakhan's, I'm telling them how to get their freedom.
That's what we're trying to do on this channel. So,
but that's what I'm saying.
It's not enough voices.
Like these people, like no, it's too many voices that's not speaking out enough. Like it's like TD Jakes, like all these people.
They are just making money.
Exactly.
All those names. They don't give a damn about the community. They're leeches on the community. They bleed in the community.
But I don't want Farrakhan to be one. Like I don't know. I guess like
Farrakhan is one of them too. Bleeding the community. I'm sorry. I love to hear his speeches too. I love them. But shit, I like to hear what's the big church here in Houston? The young guy, his teeth kind of messed up.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. Fuck. The biggest fucking church right here on the Beltway, I think, right?
The white
59. Yeah. Osteen. I like to hear him. Some of his sermons are good sometimes. I've heard good sermons from this guy. I like the way he does it because it's non-denominational. It's like you could be Baptist or you could be Methodist or you could be whatever.
But you know, I guess I accept that he's not the one to teach us, because he probably knows it too. Most likely he knows the same information too.
A lot of these people.
But at the same time,
because look, this is the thing. Look, that's what I said before. Once you gain the knowledge, you have two choices, because you be looking at the people and they you either have faith in humanity or you just like shit is just fucked. And you either make a decision that's like, either I'm a profit from this or I'm gonna try to help them, and it's gonna be at no avail because it's hopeless. So like I be saying, do I want to tell people to not go to church or do I want to open a church? And that thought really, I'm not even joking. This thought crosses my mind to open a church because I know I can do it. And I know the Bible well. I know how to write sermons. I can really do it.
But look, like my thing is, okay, are you really helping people by giving them the bread and the meat? Like at some point, you start off, you give them the bread, you give them the meat, you give them the water. But at some point, you should just be able to, give them a fishing rod and a bag of flour.
And I completely 100% hear you and agree with you. And that's what I try to do, and that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. And that's why it's all about education, and I'll be playing all this historical, dry ass, boring shit, is because I'm trying to get people to know things that they didn't know before. That's how what do you say? Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, feed him for his lifetime. It's easy to just give a man a fish. It's super easy. You just, here you go, and you go, bump, bump. To teach a man a fish, he might not learn that first day. You know what I'm saying? It might take some sessions. That takes a commitment. That's the word I'm looking for. A commitment. And that's what people not willing to do. You got to put in the effort, give it a commitment, and give it time to grow. It's kind of like growing a plant or something. You know, you planting a seed and then you like, oh, it ain't grow yet. So you just throw the dirt out the window or something. You know what I mean? Like, y'all grow plants. I remember y'all grow plants. So you know what I'm talking about. I love plants. But anyways, I just started thinking about a bunch of plants. I really do like plants. But anyways, so what? You like I say, you didn't give it a chance to grow, you know, or you didn't water it right. You didn't let the sun, it was the wrong time of the year or whatever. You had to put in all these thoughts to make sure that worked, and then be patient, right?
Trying to be patient.
That's how you teach. That's how you teach a man to fish. Teach a man to grow some tomatoes. Nigga, just throw them seeds in there. Forget about that shit, nigga. That shit is easy, nigga.
Well, I mean, that's how a lot of stuff like you think they realize, like, let's just say you find the fruit, find watermelon, and you start eating them, and then you just start spitting them out on the ground, and before you know it, shit, time, you know, you don't walk through this path. Oh, damn, there's more of them. Look at this. This got
watermelon patch over here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, of course, eventually discover, oh, so you put this in the ground and then it'll grow. And, you know, okay, yeah. But
so, yeah, but you still can't expect people. You're saying that sounds like pull yourself up by your bootstraps right there.
How?
Because you're saying like it sounds like you were saying they should learn just by accident or whatever. Like,
well, no. I'm just saying, like, over time, that's kind of what will happen if you know what I'm saying. If nobody
you pay attention,
if you just, you know, you pay attention, yeah, over time you'll kind of see it. But you know, when somebody has been, you know, growing watermelons for years already and know that, okay, shoot, you can put them in a row and make them grow like this so that it'll grow, you know, like when you have the art of stuff, yeah, you have an art that you developed for yourself on what works better or works maybe even best. You have all that stuff.
I've grown watermelon. They need a lot of space. They take a lot of water and they need a lot of space, so you can't have no plants close to them.
I'm from the watermelon capital of the world.
I love it. I love it. We grew them out there in the country, out there in Riverside. I grew so much shit out there, bonfires, and I don't know if country people know about that. Because outside, the law is different, so you could just burn shit out there. It don't even matter, like rubber, whatever. We burnt literally anything.
We didn't have no damn trash truck come through our property.
That's what we did. We burnt the trash. That's what we did too. But it was fun too. Like, it was a whole thing. It was a whole like event.
It was like, shoot, we've been put all kind of stuff together and shit. It was like, all right, you know, my uncle poured some diesel, you know, he poured diesel on it to kind of help it get started or whatever, because it'll have that slow burn.
Yeah, or it won't even light.
All those,
but
it lights slow, but it'll leave that long burn, you know,
and then it's kicking out that burnt plastic shit that you smelling and breathing in, probably about to die. But yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm not really country. I grew up in the city, really, but on weekends and holidays and stuff like that. Yeah, we was out there. I spent a pretty good amount of time out there, man. I miss that, man. I ain't gonna lie. The country, at some point, I would love to get me some land, a couple acres somewhere, you know,
that's what I'm working on. I want to have a few acres and something that I can, you know.
I don't need to be all. And anyways, you know, when shit pop off, it's gonna pop off in the city like a motherfucker. It's just like in the zombie movies. In the zombie movies, if you're in the middle of the city, you pretty much fucked. You're probably not gonna make it.
It's not by happenstance that they got loops around all the major cities.
Yep. And the exits, there's, you know, ooh, you're so right. And the way these cities are built too, it's only certain one-way ins and one-way outs. And they do. I wanted to talk about that. I might make it about
it's set up so the
open
military
air
can be able to.
prison. Open
Well,
air
not on,
prison.
yeah, well, it's not only just that, but a military can come in
And block it,
in like
blockade.
five, 10, like within
The
like
whole neighborhood not gonna be able to get out.
yeah.
Super easy, and or even shut down the city because of the way the freeways are built, and it'd be like two little spots. That's all it would take. Boom, city ain't nobody coming in, nobody going out.
Exactly.
And you fuck, like I said, if it turns into a zombie fucking apocalypse, nigga, you're not finna make it through that. the zombies are fucking everywhere. And I feel like we've already had it. It's like the zombie apocalypse have already happened. So getting to the country is where a nigga need to get. I mean, that don't mean you're gonna get away from the zombies for sure. It just seemed like it'll be a bit safer. It's fewer of the zombies.
Get you some property, gate it off, label it private area, and anybody that step on that mug that you didn't invite, you got to go.
Don't even have to ask them questions, because you can post some signs and say, if you cross right here, you can get shot. So people who cross past here get shot. Have a sign or something. Do not cross past here. So if it's a zombie, maybe you just stumbled across the line. I'm sorry. Pa! Pa, pa, pa.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well, let me show you this picture. That's my dad.
Oh, I was about to say, is that Muhammad Ali?
That's my dad riding the horse.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to play it because today I did the Lion King whole thing.
I wish I could show you, like one of my uncles. We just had the yearly fair out in Franklin, and they do a parade at the first day of the I'm gonna just call it a festival. Well, it's a fair, and sure you see my uncle, man. He got a Tennessee Walker horse. Motherfucker had heels on, got bracelets around his legs and all that. He a serious cowboy, like for real.
Yeah, I can't really ride a horse. I ain't gonna even lie. That bitch gonna sling me off. I've ridden horses with other people. I've never ridden one by myself. People don't understand how hard it is to hold on to that motherfucker. They're so strong. Like they're amazingly strong, like unbelievably strong. So when they move, you gotta fucking move with them type shit. They'll beat your ass up literally with their body. Like I say, I haven't been able to. I'm not good enough. And you see in that picture, I don't think he had a saddle.
Shoot, they'll ride.
Is there a saddle?
They'll run you. I can't tell. See the bridle. He's got the bridle and all that stuff on him. Now it doesn't look like it's a saddle. Yeah,
I don't think there's a saddle because my grandma, they would ride horses without saddles. That's what they told us about. And I think that's that Native American shit. That's that Native American blood right there.
Yeah.
Like they prefer no saddles.
Some of them, yeah. I mean, the saddle was kind of
But for me, ain't no fucking way. I've ridden horses before. That damn.
I mean, shit, trying to get on a horse without.
I need that saddle to hold on to, and the little bit of cushion between your butt and the fucking back of that horse. How the hell do they ass probably be raw as fuck riding that horse without no saddle? I don't know. You guys out there leave messages about that shit, because I have felt, I know how it feels on the back of the horse without a saddle, and that shit fucking hurts. And on with the saddle, it makes it hurt less because of the way the saddle kind of it's like a cushion. Like
if it's a good saddle, yeah, it definitely will feel good, feel better. But at the same time, the you know, like for me, just getting on the horse,
it's
I need
a
a saddle.
challenge.
I need a
Yeah,
saddle,
you got to grab that hoe.
and
You
then
need
it's
the
not easy.
spurs. You need the spurs to put your foot on, and then you need to grab that hoe enough to be able to swing your leg. Like basically, you got to pull yourself up on. People don't realize how fucking big. I guess they be looking at ponies and shit. The horse, a real horse, you gonna have to climb up on that nigga.
Yep. You better be ready.
Jump. You gotta jump up on that nigga.
Yeah, the spurs. That's the thing that go on the back of your boot. But
well, the little loops that you have to put your foot in.
I can't think of the real name of it right now either. But my uncle, I got uncles, some of my cousins. I'm telling you, like they don't care. They'll jump on that mug with or without. You know, like they grew
and
up
be
with
holding.
it.
And they can hold on to the hair, like the horse hair.
I've seen them do that too. Yep.
That's crazy. How wicked do you have to be able to? How strong you have to be? And then it's like I say, the rhythm of the horse is what you got to be, because you got to be able to catch the rhythm of the horse. Because if you offbeat with that hoe, it's gonna bounce you right the hell off of that hoe.
Well, I mean, you got to think about like you going back and forth side to side like this because they hip, you know, like the way they making those steps. So I mean, you gotta kind of go with the rhythm that they make, but then you know that's just walking. But then they start to trot, you know, and
that's what I'm saying. I can't hang on. I haven't been able to. That's why I say I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, because I would have to be holding on to somebody else. If the horse is running, I could ride the horse if he's walking. Yeah, sure. Or even like maybe a little trot or something. But if that nigga actually start running, I'm coming off the horse. I don't know. I can't hold on. I can't.
You falling off or you jumping off?
I'm falling off. It's gonna flop me off. I'm not gonna be able to hold on and burn my fucking hands on the fucking goddamn reins. I don't like that shit, bro. I guess that's probably why. I probably just don't like it. My hands, it hurts.
I was scared of them to a certain extent. Like, you know, mostly riding. I'm not afraid like of horses themselves, but
yeah, I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah,
they so people like. You can see their intelligence. Just don't stand. The reason why you don't want to stand behind them is because they can't see you, and it's just like a person. If you went and just stood behind a person, what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" Right? Yep. You don't do that. It's disrespectful. It's because I can't see you. That's the problem. So the horse is like that.
And you know what? One of my uncle's horses bit me one time.
They have attitude, personalities like people too.
Yeah, man. Stubborn son of a bitch.
Yeah, they have personalities just like people, man. That's crazy. Yeah. If they don't like you, like I've seen that, like literally just met you, they don't like you, you're not finna get on, like they're not gonna let you ride them. And whoever is the owner of the horse, he's gonna say it. He's gonna be like, yeah, apparently, you know, he not feeling you, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because the horse gonna let you know, like straight up, bro, like this nigga here is not getting on my back, bro. Not him.
Oh yeah, they feel energy. They feel energy just like any other creature. And if they don't like your energy, they'll I don't like you, and I'm not letting you ride me. And shoot, man, them horses you do still get on, you know, able to get on. Shoot, they'll ride you into a fence
or something,
like a wall or something. Like shit, man.
Yeah, fuck your ass up. Buck you off of there so high up in the air, you're gonna come down like 8-9 feet from a fall. People have died from falling off of horses because you could just fall the wrong way, and because it's enough height it's enough height up off the horse. You just fall the wrong way, like fall right on your neck or something.
Well, shoot, just think about. I mean, you just falling and them taking a few more steps and being stepped on your ass and
Yeah.
shooting.
Usually that don't be what it be. Usually it just be people falling off, because horses aren't like killers like that. Like if it they did, it was an accident. But sometimes they like I've seen them kick the shit out of people. Yeah. I don't think they be trying to, like I say, I don't think it'd be trying to kill you. It's like, bro, why you stand behind me? Or bro, I don't like you. Or bro, something personal. You did some shit the other day. I saw you do that shit. You mistreated the other horse.
Let me. I don't know, for some reason my charger is acting funny right now. Let me double check it on this here.
Yeah, man. That's crazy, man. You fucking the country shit. What other country shit? You know, in the back of the old house, they had the old stove. I don't know if I talked about that before, but it's like the old wood stove that's in the middle of the house. Like these were like slave quarters or whatever. And it's that, I don't know if it's still there now, but it was there when I was a kid. And it literally had that you know, the stove was also
Wood
the
burner?
heat. It was for heat, it was for cooking, it was for everything. And it was literally in the middle of like the living room. You know what I'm saying?
My dad did one of those, but it was kind of like the up to date kind of, you know.
This was an old shelter from, because they told me that somebody's grandma, my grandma's grandma, somebody lived out there. Like this was like some post-slavery type shit. And fucking kind of like a shack building. The stove goes all the way to the ceiling, you know? It has like a thing. Yeah. So that's it. It was like 2 rooms. So you had that room, and then you walk through that room, and then there was another room back here. And then that's it. It goes out into the like a back porch kind of, and it had like a little porch in the front, and that was the whole building. Yep.
Yeah, I may have seen something like that on TV. I don't know if I've seen it.
That was a trip. Because they were still using it. Everything was still functional in there. They could use the wood stove and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I would drink from the well. They had a well out there, and then they had like the big house or whatever. Because see, this was like a little house that was in the back of the house, and there was the house that they lived in or whatever, which wasn't a big house. That's just what they call it, a big house. It probably had 3 bedrooms, kind of a regular style. But it was still old, really old construction. Yeah, but a huge ass, like they used to have a lot of land out there, but anyways, they still got that house, and that sits on a lot of space. And then they got another place where it's a bunch of family members got trailers and shit, and because they still got space over there, so it's like a whole bunch of cousins. They all got trailers in the same kind of like. It's spread out, but you know how it go.
Yeah.
Yep. But they neighbors. Probably don't even see each other. Probably don't never go see each other too. Live right next to each other.
So I'm sure some of them.
The country, man. You can breathe better out there. You can see the stars much better. Right? The food tastes better just because you got the fresh chickens and shit.
And less pollution.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more quiet. The quiet is one thing that's really, really different. Like, right? Because in the city, you always hear noise, like throughout the night. You always hear noise. Even when it's quiet in the city, it's not really quiet. Quiet in the country is another level of quiet. Like if the bugs and the birds and stuff not making noises, it'll be so quiet your ears might start ringing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a different kind of quiet. That's relaxing.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, but as far as too much quiet can make you crazy.
I think so. I don't disagree with you. I think you have to take it in doses, but it is what it is. Oh, and what about how they talk? They talk very different. Sometimes I can't even understand them. Sometimes I literally can't understand them. It's English, but
yeah.
Is it like that for you?
Just
for your country family members?
No, I understand them real good. Like, I mean, shit. I mean, I grew up with them for the most part. I mean, it's some
I
stuff.
grew up with them, but the way they
Yeah,
talk is different.
It's more accent. It's not really where
Yeah,
you don't. I mean, for me anyway. Like,
yeah, it's accent. That's
I
what it is.
understand. I understand it.
I be struggling sometimes because then they talk kind of fast and then they stumble over their words too, and then they don't say the whole word. And I be like, ugh, I gotta decipher the last sentence they said. They done already said 2-3 more sentences. I'm still working on the last one.
Still trying to put it together. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I used to kind of like get amused by some of that, especially some of the words they use instead of saying, like, say, one of my cousins, instead of saying, sink, they'll say, oh yeah, just put it in the zinc.
In the zinc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Shit like that. And if they say that too fast, I'm gonna be like, oh, he meant sink. And then I'm gonna be like, he didn't already said something else. Damn, not what he said. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, man, we at 2.5 minutes. You look 2.5 hours.
I was at 2.5 minutes, boy. That's a long 2.5 minutes.
2.5 hours, I meant.
Yeah, nah, I knew what you meant.
I've been saying shit backwards this whole time.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting tired. I'm not gonna last much longer, but it's because I gotta finish this little spin. I'm here at the place to deliver. They said it's a 10 o'clock appointment. Hopefully they'll let me in early, but not sure what's what just yet. Did you have any other videos or
just this Cornel West clip? If you want to watch this right quick,
yeah,
we could talk through it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh shit! I forgot I'm not sharing screen. Yeah, we could talk through it too.
Let me ask you this, because I don't know if you saw this. Well, some stuff. It's really kind of like some mess, kind of gossip stuff. You know who Dr. Umar is, right?
Yeah.
He challenged Tyson to a brawl, like to.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. It's like, dude, you do not want it with Mike Tyson, even at his age.
Yeah. Damn, I lost the video. Hold on. Let me clear. I got too many windows open. So I was searching some shit while I was talking to you. Okay. Let me go back. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Fucking Omar's pretty thick. I don't know. He looked like he work out. I don't know.
Hell no. He sure don't. His belly about as big as mine.
Who
But I
knows,
mean,
man?
but I mean, it's got because the reason why he called him out
Making
is
money.
stupid. The reason why he called him out is stupid. But
Getting
then
clicks.
even stupider than that is that you talking about the world champ?
Who knows? But they motherfucking Money Mayweather, bro, that dude didn't change the game. He really has in a lot of ways because it's like that independent way they're doing that shit. And with the Logan Paul and all of them kind of fights, them niggas making a whole bunch of money and they completely dodging the traditional, the traditional system. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he changed the game. So you can bet he's gonna keep on doing that shit. It keeps working. Why not? He's making a shit ton of money.
Yeah. I mean, because pretty much anything he touches at this point, he's gonna definitely like people going out to see it. They gonna make the money, and then not just to say the door money, but that doggone TV one that
Right. The pay-per-view and all that. That's the big bucks.
Yeah.
And fucking and like I say, they just build a buzz around this shit. It's fake as fuck. It's just kind of like wrestling, might as well be. And fucking people don't even care that it's fake. And they just build up the whole drama, like interest around that shit, and then they fucking sell it to these niggas, man. That's all they doing. I don't give it no attention.
When I asked the question whether the professor was good at what his or her job was,
We could talk through this.
Very few hers. His job. He was scared.
All right, listen.
He was afraid. His eyes were saying to me, "Don't go there." His eyes were saying to me, "Don't go there and don't take me with you. I can't go there. I either don't know the
He wanted
answer,
to talk
which is
about the horrors
embarrassing,
of capitalism
or I
with
do,
his
and
professor.
it's too scary for my career future. Don't
He's
go,
saying
please
what his
don't go there."
professor.
And I'm not a nasty person. If someone pleads with me to do something, unless it's self-destructive, I do it. So I kept quiet. I learned on my own, and it's been that way all the
So
way
he had to
through.
learn.
When I at the time I brought Martin Luther King to the campus at Yale, and
He had to learn most of his a lot of his knowledge outside of the university.
Nobel Prize
Is what he just said about the subjects that he talked about.
I was called in a week later, and he gave me, which he thought he was doing me a favor, he gave me advice. He said, "If you continue to do this kind of public political work, I will not be able to write letters of recommendation for you." He was letting me know that if I wanted to make it in the Ivy League as a professor, he could make the difference, but he couldn't do it for me if I was in that kind.
So,
by the way,
so he
this was
brought
not a
Martin Luther
conservative,
King.
This was not a right winger.
He brought Martin Luther
This man
King
was on
to the
Council of Economic
campus
Advisors in the Kennedy administration.
as
know where
a
he stood.
teacher or whatever. And the
All right.
board told him,
You could feel the
"We
shadow
won't write you letters of
Absolutely.
recommendation letters if you
and
keep
at the same
doing
time,
shit like that."
The call, because see, your vocation
Right
is
stuff.
intellectual truth telling, your vocation to
All
the
right.
plight of working people, your vocation to the sensitivity of the suffering of oppressed people here and around the world. I bet you got the only dissertation written in the economics department in the country tied to colonial struggles in Africa. Was it in Kenya?
Kenya, yeah. I wrote my doctoral. Good for you, Cornell. You're blowing me away. It's embarrassing. Thank you. Yes, I went to East Africa. I actually studied and learned Swahili. I took a semester. and it changed my life. That time, I only spent 3 or 4 months in Kenya and Tanganyika, which later became Tanzania. For me, and I wrote the book, I wrote my dissertation about British colonialism in Kenya, and it changed my life. What I saw, the reality of what came of what colonialism was on the ground, was a lesson that, you know, no way could I ever become a supporter of a system that could do that to those people. I mean, just you could not.
Talking about
you could not spend the
colonialism,
months traveling and talking to
predatory
people,
capitalism,
and have that
basically, is what you would call it today.
Henry James said to Louis Stevenson, he says, no theory is kind to us that cheats us of seeing.
Cheats us of seeing.
And what you're able to do,
that's the bad
I'm
history.
Going to keep track of colonial practice. I'm going to keep track of imperial domination. What is this relation to the core capitalist centers as they themselves exploit workers, as they themselves degrade women and black folks?
This wraps up the video here.
Gays and lesbians don't even stay in contact with the humanity of so many of the Catholic brothers and sisters, Italian and Poles, as they make their way into Protestant America, let alone Jewish brothers and sisters. Good God Almighty! So that as an economist, man, you're in a very, very unique space and zone, but you choose to be in there. That's what I like about it. You. That's your calling. That's your vocation. You choose to stay there, and you're still there now, and almost what, 8 decades.
China is a society 4 times larger population, and it has 1% of the number of deaths from COVID that the United States has. Many more people, many fewer deaths. This is a statistic which I find so stunning, so
and this is
powerful.
Important.
But I wonder, how do you make sense?
And then the whole thing broke out in China.
As rich as the United States, as highly developed.
They handled it way better than us.
Compared with a much poorer country such as China, to either be prepared for or to cope with a public threat literally to the life of the people here. And I say this having learned that this last week we surpassed the number of dead Americans from the so-called Spanish flu 100 years ago. How do you see this?
Well, I mean, I love the way you put it in terms of the public threat. Because when you have a public life that is so debased and degraded and devalued, when there's a public threat,
unhuman,
able to provide an effective public response.
Exactly.
So that the levels of civic deterioration, the levels of public disintegration, and we can talk about it in terms of public health, public education, public transportation, public conversation.
Right.
All of those have been so degraded given our highly commodified world and culture, that when you have life and death issues so immediate, we already have life and death issues prior to the pandemic, of course, with poverty and so forth. But when one becomes so immediate, it's clear that America is a colossal failure in terms of having a high quality public life and therefore public response to public problems. China has a public and civic life that is quite intense. Now it's authoritarian. It's got authoritarian Communist Party. It's got its own predatory capitalist tendencies under the aegis of the Communist Party that's bureaucratic and authoritarian, but they're able to mobilize and galvanize a public response. Now, America likes to deny its diminished and deteriorated public life and talk about its liberties. Well, we got personal liberties. We want to do what we want. Well, freedom is not licentiousness. Freedom is not doing anything as one likes in one's individualistic and hedonistic and egocentric orientation. That's not freedom at all. But that's how debased our understanding of freedom is with a debased public life. John Dewey talked about this in 1927, The Public and Its Problem. As a democratic socialist, he said, look, we have a public problem of depression, the economic depression. What will be our public response? And if it were not for the organizing of workers, if it were not for the organizing of black folks, A. Philip Randolph's and others, the response to that public crisis would have been so much worse. In the end, the name remained one of saving capitalism rather than transforming workplace and moving toward the kind of democracy at work that you've written about with such eloquence. So that it's a very sad commentary on just how spiritually decayed and morally decrepit our society actually is as an American experiment. It's a very, very sad affair. Not sad enough for us to give up on fighting. We got to fight no matter what, but we have to tell the grim truths even as we fight.
Right. Speaking of grim truths, and we're running out of time, of course, can I get your reaction to that photograph of the white Border Patrol cowboys on horses rounding up the fleeing Haitians desperate to get here? How did, I mean, that photograph is around the world. How did it hit you?
Well, I mean, as you know, going back 1791 to 1804 with the Great Haitian Revolution, the end of name present images of a great and dignified people.
Gotta go back to the Haitian Revolution.
And people don't want to come to terms with the ways in which the Haitian people's history has been such a challenge to the mainstream American ways of being in the world, the ways in which they not simply transformed themselves, generated impacts on slave insurrection. The unbelievable slave insurrection just a few years later, New Orleans, and on to Marquise. The Haitian
led to the French Revolution too.
Is irrepressible. So when I saw those images, I said, oh, once again, here an ex-French colony has been paying reparations to France decade after decade after decade, poverty devastating them, hurricanes coming at them. Look at their dignity.
They still go hard.
Look at their
They still say we Haitian.
In that sense, I expected. I'm never surprised by white supremacist dogma, by capitalist degradation of human beings, patriarchal subject. I'm never surprised. I just don't allow any kind of despair to get in the way of fighting and resisting those kinds of attempts to degrade any slice of humanity, no matter where they are, my brother.
Cornell, we run out of time. You are a wonderful...
Preach, my brother. Pat, you there? Pat. Yeah, I think we lost Pat. You there?
I am, and I ain't.
I'm about to wrap it anyway. I'm tired. It's 2 a.m. almost. I'm trying to do better tomorrow. I think it was a pretty good show. I just need to learn how to organize my shit better.
You're doing good, man.
What do you think? Last thoughts. Simba, remember the violence of forgetting.
If you don't remember, it's definitely highly beneficial that you do remember. You're king. You're my son. Like all that stuff is, you know, of course not literal, but I mean it like it hit me. It kind of had hit me when it hit. You know what I'm saying? Like the way you kind of wound it in, like it's really way more important than people think. You know what I'm saying? Like it is very, very important. And I mean, even if you can just get to the
because you know how like the natives, they pass down knowledge orally mostly, and that's why the Europeans thought that they didn't know this or they didn't know that. It's just they didn't write it down. And then I didn't play the clip, but they was talking about how with some of the slaves, they would cut the tongues out of the elders because they didn't want to let them teach, you know, especially the language. They didn't want them to teach the languages. They didn't want to teach them the histories and stuff like that. And that's one of the ways they did it. And it's like I say, like having your elders around, having your grandparents or great grandparents around, chopping it up with them and extracting information, you know, because a lot of that knowledge is there. And like I say, a lot of it is still passed down to this day, because that's one of the things they couldn't stop necessarily, even through slavery. So if you do want to find, I mean, I think this is what because I've thought about this heavily. If you really want to research it and find real truth, you'd have to find it that way, by interviewing people, old folks, and trying to, you know, piece that shit together, because the stories are going to line up. You can ask multiple people and you're going to hear similar like legends and shit like that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. True. I mean, you said one thing about the language, but just think about, like, you know, especially like in the Indian tribes, the mute, like the songs, the, you know what I'm saying, like maybe, you know, like the different lullaby type, you know, stuff that.
Exactly. That's how they did it. Exactly. That's how they did it. And that's lost. But if you can find any of those songs, that will be valuable as fuck. If you could find a really old song, and that's why we need to be able to translate some of those languages, because the languages are dead and they probably don't want.
A lot of like where a lot of those tribes, they had their own
Different languages. It's just like in Africa today.
Yeah, a lot of them could speak 4 or 5 different languages, and it was because they had their own. And then shoot, you know, because then like Latin, you know, what we call, because they had a thing called Moorish Latin, which was, you know, a difference in dialect where it was kind of, I guess, somewhat broken up or whatever. But
I think if we found those songs in the original tongue, I don't think it even would matter that much if we knew what the language was, because some of the words are gonna resonate with us or whatever. They might bring back, you know, something. You know what I mean? Because could find those. I think that would be valuable. Finding songs, any kind of old legends that they said, the old folks, random sayings that the old folks be saying, because a lot of those was handed down.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you would find it. It sucks so fucking bad, man. It sucks so fucking bad that like a big disruption of that, like, you know, knowledge of being passed down. Like, that's why we don't know shit about the herbs growing in the damn. This the kind of shit that'll get me upset, man. Really, really upset. We don't know the medicines that's right out here growing in our yard, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes me angry, man. That gets me upset and hurt. Because it took thousands of years for them to build that knowledge. It's like the burning of the Library of Alexandria.
Yep.
I'm finna wrap it, y'all. Peace and love. I'm gonna play a song or two to wrap it. Put us right at 3 hours. That's not a bad time. It'd be nice to get these hoes down to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I need to be more concise with the material. But I can always go back and edit these hoes. Whenever they're good videos, I just edit them. Never know when it's gonna be good though.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw the title, I was like, "What in the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah. So, what did you think, though? Like,
no, I mean, it was actually good. I mean,
did it make sense? Like the way I put it, I explained. Did I explain it?
Yeah, like I mean, especially the beginning. You know, the whole, you know, the Simba.
Because the greatest violence that they did against the slaves was taking their names from them. Like, what's more violent than that?
Well,
yeah,
you know, and it was a genocide of, like, it was a paper genocide.
Yeah, genocide of your history or genocide of your heritage. You know, genocide of your ethnicity, your language, your freaking goddamn every fucking thing. And just now, and that's what a clip I didn't play because that's what they said. They took everything and then they turned you into a slave, and now all you know is slave. Like you don't have a history before that.
Exactly. That's the part that really, I guess you say bothers me because it's like.
And they always keep saying Ghana. I always told you it was hard for me to research this video. I spent hours researching this video. They kept saying niggas coming from Ghana and shit. I'm like, how the fuck can everybody come from Ghana, dog? Come on. Please. It's like Ghana and Sierra Leone and like a couple of other places. So all them people came from them couple little places, bro. Nigeria, I think they said. Get the fuck out of here, man. The fuck out of here. That's why I say they're suppressing this information. I found some articles, but they was trash. Most of the articles I found was trash. This information is actually literally suppressed. You could probably get it outside of the United States. That's what I'm going to start doing. I'm gonna get better at researching, and I'm gonna try to get information outside of the United States, because even the news that I be looking at, I realize be way more accurate when it be from outside of the United States when they talk about the United States.
Yeah, they're not biased in part of the agenda that most of them agree with.
Like it don't be coming from no slant. They just be saying this is what happened, this is what they did, and da 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 da. And then they might even throw some history in there. This is what they did before on this day and this day and this day. And then like your own brain just be like, okay, whatever, It's just be straight data. Whenever you get a news story here in the United States, it's always with a narrative. They add extra as like a descriptive words and shit. Leave out critical ass information and shit. they love to put misleading pictures on the screen. Shit that don't have nothing to do with what they saying. Anyways, man. Like I say, I'm gonna wrap it, y'all. Thank you for joining. Thank y'all for listening. Because hey, I wanted to tell you, Pat, can you hear me? Yeah. We're on Spotify now, bro. Spotify, and there's another podcast, like just the audio.
Mm-hmm. We need to get on Unite the 99.
What is that?
I don't know. I think I've sent you a few things on it that.
But it's a platform that I could put my stuff on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's a conscious platform. Like Unite the 99 is it's more so like it's supposed to grow up to like an IG, I think it's set up more like IG, I guess you could say.
I definitely want to, and I could do this. Can I put my stuff on it?
I think so. Like, I mean, there's like, I would say at least try it.
Well, we're on Anchor. That's a podcast, just the audio only for people who like to stream. You can stream it and on Spotify, bro. So tell people, that the show, like I say, man, I'm trying to blow this fucking channel up. So, like tonight, we're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And I have Rumble. I put clips up on Rumble, and it's streaming audio, or the audio will be streaming on Spotify and Anchor. And it might be on Apple. I set up the Apple, but it won't let me do it because I don't have a Mac. But as soon as I figure out a way around that, because it'll let me do it through my phone, but the files are way too big for me to put on my phone. I don't know how the fuck I could do that. But Anyways, man, tell the friends, check out the show, and join. Especially tell them to come join the show and chop it up with us. We need some people to argue with up here.
I
We
usually, I
we agree
usually
too much.
post it. I guess we don't agree all the time. That's certain, but
We need some other points of view on the same subjects, like somebody to kind of like bounce the ideas off of,
Well, yeah, I mean, even if it's just to add some perspective, because to me, I think that's what's missing in a lot of our dialogue is that, some people, just everybody has their own
right, and we're
point.
not representing all of the like perspectives that could be on the subject.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of linear because it's certain things like I see it and I'm like, well, because of this, like a lot of stuff, like if most people that know me, like a lot of my stuff is centered more so around that whole nationality, especially when it comes to our people. You know what I'm saying?
But that is related to this subject because I kind of wanted to talk about that because it was in the video with the David Carr video. He said how ridiculous it is. The idea of where you came out of your womb decides on what rights you get as a human or whatever. What if you can have citizenship? It's Haitians that are born in the Dominican Republic and they don't have papers because they won't give them papers over there. So they're not Haitian and they're not Dominican. You get what I'm saying? They don't have birth papers. And what I'm saying is how the idea of where you were born decides what rights you get is some ridiculous ass idea that these people have come up with. And and like I say, it leads to this nationality type shit where, like, again, how like, oh, Russia is the devil or India is the devil or China is the devil or whoever the hell, and these damn multinational corporations don't give a damn about that shit. It's just us talking about, oh, America and all of this, like, but it's a dream that they selling you that's some bullshit because, like I say, so you was born in America, you deserve all of these particular rights. If you're born in Venezuela, you deserve to be born poor and starving and you have no rights. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I do because I mean, it's crazy that it happens that way. But I mean, does it really stop you from? I mean, you make it to America. I mean, most of the laws will apply, especially if most immigrants that's coming in now anyway, like they're coming in as white. You know what I'm saying? Like just with that whole structure is crazy. Because I mean, anything less than white, you're getting privileges. You don't really have rights. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much, and that's what's been happening with black people.
But even the rights are privileges under this system of, and you know what I'm talking about, the American Corporation of the United States.
Well, true, and I mean, if in I guess like even when you really delve into it, when you're looking at it from that perspective of the corporate entity, I mean, a citizen of a corporate entity is an employee.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So and then they have the right to revoke whatever rights they have given you because you're a ward of the state or whatever. You're an employee of the state. Like, and you don't exist outside of that. So and it's not like you can quit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just stop playing their game, and just. But then if you stop playing their game, now where are you gonna work at? What kind of job are you gonna have? How you gonna make a living? How you gonna feed your family? And then you're not even a citizen no more neither. So you don't get, well, you do get rights. You can get real rights at this point It's just that they're gonna use their best lawyers and best everything to try to smash your ass. But like we said before in the other video, that if you use the right language, it is true. It is true. They have to respect it because it's like the law of what is it? The law of the sea, the law of the land, however that shit works. And they have to respect that because it supersedes everything else. And if you use the right language, like I'm a sovereign nation, like, you know, I'm a human, you know, I'm not whatever. I forget how you say that shit. And you're like traveler. I'm a traveling human or whatever.
A nomad.
However you say that shit. I used to know that shit. I was into it heavy, but that was like 12 years ago. I done put so much shit in my head since then. That shit done got squished.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go on and get, cause I'm struggling over here.
All right, man. Thank you for joining, man. Thank you for being here.
Oh yeah, man. Glad to be here.
You make the show, man. And I don't know. I'll just be on here screaming at the computer if you wasn't here, bro.
Well, nah, shoot, like I said, I enjoy being here. You know, like I said, I hate that I'm you know,
I might make a part 2 kind of this video because I don't feel like I explained it good enough. The idea, I really want people to understand. And then maybe I'll look up some more like history of, and this time we'll focus on like, but like I say, I did a bunch of looking, but I'll find some shit. We'll focus on like the native, like the Americas, but not when they just be talking about Aztec and Maya. That's not what I'm trying to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because the Aztecs were conquerors. I want to hear more about just the regular ass folks, man, and what they were doing. You know what? I might have to look up some books on that shit. And that's probably what it's going to be because I can't find the shit on. I was online for 2-3 hours and I barely found shit. So I fuck around and go to the library on y'all ass. I fuck around and I do got access online too to the. I don't know if I can. I've been scared to do that because through the University of Houston they have a bunch of shit through their library, and I have access to it just because I'm a student. But I'm afraid if I broadcast that shit, they might kick me out of school or something. I don't know. I just don't want to risk that shit. But I could probably go to the library and pick up some books, and I could probably read out of the books. I don't see how that would be a problem. But all right, man.
All right, bro.
Peace and love. I'm going to play a couple songs to wrap it up.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you tomorrow,
man. Yeah, man. Send me an idea for a video, bro. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do tomorrow. Tell me what you want to talk about.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. But
yeah, send me some texts. Maybe I look up some stuff. I really would like it to be a subject that we can just kind of talk about because it's something that would take a while to break apart. Because that's kind of how my idea was with the banana peel. And one of the best videos I've done recently is the storytelling video. Tell me a story video. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That one is that's the best doing video right now. And I didn't play no videos in that one. And we were just pretty much talking the whole time.
What day was that? That was a Friday night or a Saturday night?
I'd have to look at the thing and tell you.
I'm telling you, it was one of those nights. It was probably a Saturday night. I think we get a little busier on Saturday.
I think so too. Yeah, Friday night are the better shows. I think Friday and Saturday night. I think it was probably Friday night because Saturday nights both of us, I think we be tired on Saturday nights. I think it's Friday night. I think it's Friday night that we be having a good show. Deuce was there. Deuce was there in that show, and he told his story about his wife and what they was going through and stuff. He was the one that really
opened
said,
it up.
Yeah. Anyway, man, peace and love.
Peace.
All right. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being a part of the revolution, baby. Your existence is the resistance. I'm going to play a couple songs. Whew. Like I say, thank y'all for coming. I love y'all, man.
You are now tuned in
with Lil G
to the style.
KC, real.
Bambino.
Sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past.
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
When I sit by myself
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Hey, damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine. Hey. Been building since '96. It's been a trip. Just trying to survive in this bitch. And you wonder why, where I'm from. Every time I turn around, dumber and dumber trying to pull me down. All my niggas screaming, just get up out of H-Town. But I ain't, this is where I make my bank. Plus I got unfinished business with a skank. G's be my witness, I'ma hit hard as a tank. I can't stop KC the prophet, God of the day. I trust the game with a case for being fake, for I hate all of y'all, and I'm willing to eliminate anyone up in my way. Sitting living in the belly of the beast, predator and prey. Either get ate, pray you ain't the next nigga on my plate. Hey,
I be like, damn, my future shy. That's why I let all my anger out when I get up on the mic. They say life is what you make it, but shit, that's like rolling dice, man. Let me tell you something, man, life ain't all night. People be like, man, that's gravy, man, but that shit is right. Let me tell you something, you tell them the truth, they be like, that ain't right. But shit, life is shy, it's like putting up with a fight. If you fuck with me and can't see, we'll punch out your life. When I sit by myself,
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
When I sit by myself,
and I think about my life,
and I think about my past,
I be like my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Damn, my future shine.
Hey, damn, my future shine.
Yes, I am drinking. Recording this shit. Yeah. This damn green man, it's got me sitting sideways. This damn lean man, it's got me sitting sideways. I'm on the scene, I'm sitting sideways. You don't feel like me, that's why you looking at me. I'm riding clean and I'm flying down the freeway. Nowhere to be, so I'm taking me a free day. Defensive driving, best I listen to what he say. I'm higher than a child on the first day of pre-K. Drive slow, I ain't tripping on the delay. The cup I'm sipping on is giving dumb leeway. Anyway, the Optimo ash is spilling on my cat case instead of an ashtray. brush it off and keep it moving on. Shift my attention to what else I could be doing wrong. Sure, with someone on my phone I could be screwing on. So you alone, bring your whole crew along. Sit around the table playing beer pong. She drunk, she bending over and she got a clear tongue. I'm looking from the back, man, I got an ass on. Wake up on my back, where the grass come from? This damn green man has got me sitting sideways. This damn lean man has got me sitting sideways. I'm on the scene and you know I'm sitting sideways. You don't feel like me, that's why you looking at me sideways. This damn green man has got me sitting sideways. This damn lean man has got me sitting sideways. I'm on the scene, man, you know I'm sitting sideways. You don't feel like me, that's why you looking at me sideways. I'm the king and we gon' do the things my way. I wanna see you in skinny jeans on Friday. When I'm leaning to the left, you better be leaning in the right way. Leaning in the right way. I'm cleaner than a washing machine. If you hyperallergenic, get your antihistamine. You're like a tightwad caught in between a full of latrine and a pistol whipping fiend. Gotta get the cream is on top. KCE, we the team that won't stop. They calling me the dean cause I teach them what's hot. Thought you were the new thing, we can see that you're not. We had to get mean cause we're taking your spot. We wanna get a ring, sit in championship box. Call up your queens and tell them get clocked. When they see the muscle is supreme, your boys gon' kick rock. This damn green man got me sitting sideways. This damn lean man got me sitting sideways. I'm on the scene and you know I'm sitting sideways. You don't feel like me, that's why you looking at me sideways. This damn green man got me sitting sideways. This damn lean man got me sitting sideways. I'm on the scene and you know I'm sitting sideways. You don't feel like me, that's why you looking at me sideways. We thought you were the new thing, but we can see that you're not. Yo, we thought you were the new thing, but we can see that you're not. If you got your own and you clean, drop it like it's hot. If you got your own and you clean, drop it like it's hot. Everybody say wow. How you gon' jock my side? Say wow. How you gon' jock my side? Say wow. How you gon' jock my side? Say wow. How you gon' jock my style? This chick remind me my drink. Yo, this bitch is drunk on my drink. Yo, this trick is smoking my dang. I wanted to stop, but I can't. I'm leaning to the side, man. I'm leaning to the side, man. Yo, everybody vibing, the lights flashing, ain't nobody hiding. We full of passion. I see this chick smiling with her action. She said she from an island. I'm just passing. I said stop lying. We started laughing. Girl, what you drinking? I'm on that captain. Now we on pink panties with a napkin. I got a blunt dipped in brandy that we passing. Now we leaning to the side in the bass bay. She feeling on my thigh, my chain swinging. Feeling alright now. The game changing. Right on time now. We both swaying. Do that new style now. Bojangles, I wanna see your tatas. Do those jangles, what about your now guys? I need angles, call me your papa. Grab your ankles, move like chaka chaka. When it's anal, I got to get ya. And it's painful, split you like a swisher. With a label, you know we can make it without being naked. We can make them think we fake it, shake it, make me take it. Yo, this chick remind me my drink. Yo, this bitch is drunk on my drink. This trick is smoking my dang. I wanted to stop, but I can't. I'm leaning to the side, man. 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 If you got a cup, put that shit up. Lean it to the side. Lean it to the side. If you got a fat cat and your drawers and bra match, lean it to the side. Lean it to the side. If you just got off of work and your fucking feet hurt, lean it to the side. Lean it to the side. If you shine fly and everybody know your ass high, lean it to the side. Lean it to the side. If it's getting hot and you drink Henny on the rocks, lean it to the side. Lean it to the side.
that real hip hop. Hey, flaming shot. So you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. This that real hip hop. Hey, flaming shot. So you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. I'm about to expose this. What's the prognosis? They have medication, I don't know their diagnosis. You niggas is some roaches. You wanna approach this? The chopper stand for rage, so you could call it roasting. Man, I ain't posting. You flow in slow motion. Bang, bang, nigga, look how your chest is open. Main thing is gonna change when he inflamed. Take over the fucking game. The order 16 balls, and we know we go hard. Parlez-vous français, nigga, pass the cigars. Je m'appelle Flame Flame, and your girl give brain. Chica, señorita, mira, I got dick. Little poquito, won't you go and swallow it? Dolce Gabbana, I bought it, now you model it. If your essay trick, then I'ma hit him with them hollow tips. That shit hot flame, let's go and dive. This that real hip hop. Hey. Flaming shot, so you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. This that real hip hop. Hey, flaming shot, so you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. They jockers in the game like a MJ fadeaway. They gon' know my name, it ain't never gon' fade away. One bullet plus your face, nigga, that equals a takeaway. Bust through like a fullback, nigga, I'ma make a way. Taking shots, young nigga, like a Steve Nash breakaway. Me and Flame holding shit down like a fucking paperweight. Working hard to kill a nigga, homie, you could call it Labor Day. Use a bitch, homie, gon' drink on your haterade. Rapping about where them quarters at, we blitz you like a quarterback. Where your daughter at, she into sacks like Warren Sapp. Make you fumble your nuts like you was hit by a cornerback. You wanna battle rap, so act like you want it, black. Separate your nuts and put your brains where the cattle's at. It's time to go, nigga, get your ass in the Cadillac. Lollygagging this shit talking, nigga, we ain't having that. Hip hop is coming back, imagine that. It's that real hip hop. Flaming shot, so you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. This that real hip hop. Hey, flaming shot, so you lames can stop. Cause we flaming hot. Yeah. This that real hip hop. We won't flip flop. Watch when the album drop. That'll be something you cop. It's flaming chalk. Man, nigga know that we hot. We on the spot, nigga, and we not young jock. We got the Glocks pop. Aim and pop. Give me 3 seconds. Let me reload the clock. Tick, tick, tick. Goes the clock on the wall. Don't give a motherfuck that you all gon' fall. We all gon' ball. We up in the mall. Buying anything we see. We your enemy with the beef ready to creep. Chock, chock, and flame, flame. We on your street. Real hip hop shit. This really is classic. But I'm spitting off my tongue. It could get drastic. It could get nasty. Wrap you in plastic. Show your boy that you ain't nothing but a bastard. Slash the actress flame. Don't do them like that. They know that shit whack with them elementary raps. Why you even think about putting that on wax? Nigga, I'm spitting facts, the truth. When I strap up my black boots, my troops coming through. I pop shots where your kids at. Put the Glock to your nuts and push your kids back. Like where your sperm like burn you like perm. And I bet you learn you ain't fucking with a flaming jock, you're getting burnt. Hey, hey, hey. And we ain't never heard nothing like this. We did that shit that y'all think that the flame is doing. We did that shit, you know what I'm saying? We the shit, nigga. Hey, we ain't never heard nothing like this. We hot. And we not gonna stop. We not gonna stop.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub that?
Yeah, man, let's do it, dog. Let's get it done, dog. You know what I'm saying? It's hot shit.
Hey, say y'all load that down right quick, bro. I got a little message or something, you know what I'm saying?
Hi, this is Dr. Nicole calling from Fort Plaza Hospital to inform you that Catrell Williams has died with multiple gunshot wounds to the head at 4:45 a.m. For further information, you can contact the hospital at 713-225-8618.
Man, these niggas fucked up. Oh my God, yo, Fucked up. Black bandana, finger on the hammer. You won't see these apes go bananas. Ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat. Yeah. Black bandana, fingers on the camera. You won't see this ape go bananas. Ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat. Yeah. Motherfucker gotta die. You gotta die, motherfucker gotta die. Go banana, my fingers on the hammer for you nail type niggas. I'm a jail type nigga. Give a hell about hell, my nigga. Flame was doing fine till they killed my nigga. Now I gotta touch him up, rough him up, fuck him up, bucking stuff at his family. Killing his people randomly. Man, nigga gon' handle me. Him a nigga, he ain't die in vain. I'ma ride on his name and shoot 5 in the sky. And them niggas who killed him must be ready to die. They could give me the chair because I'm ready to fight. Real niggas ride when they grown and they nigga is gone. Pull out a whole 40, taking scotch to the dome. Yeah, black bandana, fingers on the hammer. You won't see this tapes go bananas. Ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat. You gotta die, motherfucker. Black bandana, finger on the hammer. You won't see this tape go bananas. Ride with the heat, ride with the heat, ride with the heat. You gotta die, motherfucker. That was my nigga since a little boy. When we was playing with them little toys. And now I got a kill boy. He was a killer gorilla. He taught me everything. Swear to God on my mother, my brother, the chopper sang. Hey, any nigga who I thought who did it. I'm coming, homie, and I'm coming to get it. What? I smell revenge, it's all in the air. I'm fucking at your kids cause the boy don't care. You ain't care when you took my nigga life. So I'ma show you what the pipe and the other side like. Yeah. Die, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here. See my partner gone, he got the fuck out of here. Cause the pussy niggas just like you. I'm a gorilla piranha like him, I'm about to bite you. Don't wanna fight you, hit you with that pipe, dude. Show you what the other side like, dude. Hey, it's not a game, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real nigga, you know what I'm saying? I believe if a nigga take my nigga, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking his nigga, I'm taking his family, I'm taking his sperm, I'm taking his kids, cause I'ma shoot him in the nuts, you hear me? Real gangster.